affect us.
This is a message to all supporters, a message to all freedom fighters, to all dissenters, to all forgotten, a call to all intellectuals, to all journalists, a call to all freethinkers, a call for intelligence. This is a call to all poets, a call to the strong and the weak, a call to all young people, to the wise, to the astucious. We want you to join us. We are on the streets of Tokyo, in the skyscrapers of New York, in the lanes of Paris, in the cellars of Munich, on Moscow's icy places, on the cobbled streets of Dublin. This is a call to all people, to the youth. Join us in the fight for freedom of information. Search for us, and you will find us. We are among you. We are you. Everyone you speak with can be a member of Anonymous. We have no leaders, only an orientation. We have no targets, only results. You cannot stop us because we are an idea. We cannot be eliminated because we are invisible. If you try to mock us, we will mock ourselves. If you try to slander us, we will accept the defamation. We are the king's jesters with daggers. We are the dancing bear which tears to pieces the laughing mob. We are anonymous. We are a legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us, just as we expect you.
Councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
And welcome to Anonymous Bites Back, episode 151. We are back.
Woo! So much has happened in a week, and we picked a good. It's good that we have it on a Thursday because so much has happened, and some of it happened.
Oh yeah,
today,
United States was added to on the list of the top, I think 100 countries dangerous for journalists.
No shit, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the whole Assange thing. I mean, girl.
Well, it's been this is what a lot of people were warning us about, when you have that thing, first they came for your neighbors, now they're coming for you. And this didn't happen out of nowhere. They targeted journalists for all sorts of different reasons, and people refused to stand up. They stood on the other side, or, you don't know the whole story. Look, man, you were shooting fucking journalists. You didn't shoot anybody else with rubber bullets there, right?
Well, yeah, they get on on the Reuters, on the WikiLeaks video, they were killing Reuters journalists.
Yeah. The same Standing Rock pipeline protest, target and arrest journalists right away because they're journalists. But this has been, a slow, like all of the erosion of your rights. They do it slowly. They don't wake up one morning, and if it doesn't work on one thing, they'll try it the next time. They wait until you feel it's a group that you won't say anything about. The Bundy standoff, right? Is a good example. They'll try to pick people out that you don't think that you'll do anything about it or say anything, and erode your rights. And then it sets precedents, right? We always do this. It's just policy.
Well, yeah, like they did with The Intercept. That was how what's her name got busted. It was Reality Winner, because her source from The Intercept gave up his source due to being antagonized by a government agency.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to The Intercept for not doing their job well.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, guys. You had one person to protect, and that is your sources.
Yeah, I mean...
I had one job, dude.
You had one job!
Well, I guess, when the NSA comes into your office, you're like...
You hit that, you're the Intercept. You hit that live stream button, right? And say, the NSA is in my office. What were you guys saying again? Sorry, this is live now. I just wanted to make sure you guys knew. What were you looking for? You needed to find our whistleblowers' credential. What were you looking for? Isn't that a violation of the first? Oh, you're leaving. Never mind. Come back with a warrant, guys. But yeah,
these
hit
guys
that live stream button.
They don't take their job seriously anymore. I mean, if they're like that, they just rather give up your data than protect you. That's pretty pathetic.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like there was a lot of resistance. Like, hey, I'm Agent Bumfucker from the NSA. Can we have your records? Sure, have a great one.
Also, some people should have lost their job for that one.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It was the story of it. I think it was, probably the story of the year. But giving up your source is like a no-no in journalism.
Yeah, and I mean for any reason, even to other news agencies. So we get contacted, and I work with some other news agencies, and they'll come back at me with, well, who told you that? Don't worry about it. Is the information true or not? Download the file and look at it, right? That's what's important. Don't worry about who we got it from. It fell out of the fucking sky, right? Is it true or not? Yeah, so that was the last time TYT talked to me. Well, no, I'm not going to
political, man.
Because I'm not going to give up I'm not going to put somebody's life in danger, right? You can verify whether the information's true, but I'm not going to put somebody that put their life in danger to get you information, right? To spread the truth, and you're going to dime them out like that? I mean, Jesus, they can't check. Make up a name, right? Well, who gave you this? It was Jerry McFadden, right? Tall guy, glasses. You know what I mean? Like, you had to immediately be like, oh, Reality Winner. She talked to me yesterday. Gave me the email. Right? Like, that quick? You couldn't have fucking lied?
They got scared.
Yeah. They had badges. That means they can do whatever they want.
I think it's weird they don't have like a protocol for that. Like,
Well,
as soon as they should. They have like a list of fake names. We use this one now. We use this one. Like,
Yeah, if somebody comes up and pressures you for and that one, when it does come, when they do look down it, it's obvious that, the reason we gave you this is because it's a violation of our First Amendment rights.
Oh yeah.
Right. And it's not, this is what makes Reality Winner's case so like heartbreaking, is that there's supposed to be whistleblower protections, right? But whistleblower protections do not take people that are working in specific government agencies. And that's when Obama came out and gave that long speech. We've got ways to protect people. If you want to just speak out, you can speak out and tell us. Except if you work in places like this, right, there is no protections for you. Everything that you do and say is immediately punishable by law, even if it's calling out blatant corruption. So, like, their response to them arresting her was a continuation of the lie of that same corruption. Messed up. Yeah. But this is why it's okay. This is why it's okay for them to bust, Adrian Assange, because we let them do it with so many other people. By the time the journalists on in the corporate media don't have policies, but the government agents and oppressors definitely do. That's what they tell you when they're doing it. Well, we're going to hold them. That's our policy.
yeah, and the weird thing is with Reality that she even tried to do it through these mainstream sources like The Intercept. So she even tried to keep them safe. She could have leaked it herself on like WikiLeaks or whatever, but she even did it through these respected sources. And then she would have guessed that these people know what they can release and what not. So
yeah, I mean, I think I think it being connected with The Intercept probably kept her from being killed over being incarcerated. Because these are the people you can put. You don't have to put like a pin into one, and whatever. These people have people killed for leaking information, for showing their corruption. That's the truth. Which ones and how many, and which ones were suicides and accidents and this and that. That doesn't matter. These people do have people killed for speaking the truth. And once you plug that into it, her leaking it herself would have been much more dangerous, because then you just, another suicidal veteran, right? We've cleaned it up. The two people that you leaked it to, they've taken it down. It was a hoax. An unstable veteran, right? And then that's it. They were delusional. Yeah, they were delusional, rantings, upset about they were passed over for their last promotion. Is something the Invisible Joe's here with me, and this is something that we've both seen the military use as excuses to hide their crimes.
Or they died honorably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, that one.
Depending on how dangerous it was, they died honorably in the
line of duty.
In the line of duty, they'll even give them a medal.
Yeah. Unfortunately, but those are the people that we're dealing with. So I think leaking it gave it enough press that you would have noticed an accident after the fact. But instead, they put you in prison forever. So I mean, I don't know which is better, the quick end or the long one. Because she's still in prison now, right? They move her around from federale to federale.
Yeah.
Because there's laws say you can only be kept for so long without charges, there's all sorts of legal ramifications, but there's loopholes. So like if I move you from this facility to that facility, it can take a year for us to process you.
Sometimes
grand jury, they can keep her, like if they had just started grand jury and it's one of those longer term ones, she might be in there like a year and a half before they dissolve it.
And then we just move you to the next one and start over.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole process is, I don't know, man. It is unconstitutional in a lot of ways. I mean, it's like when they want to get the information from you, they can do it. They just straight up take your rights away.
Well, yeah, and if you thought like your rights only count, I guess if you're in Guantanamo, you don't get rights anymore. It's no man's land.
Yeah, literally.
I know. I mean, it makes no sense. I know that there was some. God, I'll have to look up the story, but there was actually some. The Cuban government is now using our torture facility. Only time we ever work with Cuba.
Sorry, it took so long.
It's kind of odd. We have a naval base down there and all that stuff the whole time.
Oh yeah. Let me see.
Yeah, I don't.
Julian a few days ago was allowed to finally see his lawyer, but it was like after 12 days in custody.
And everyone complaining about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been through jail like tons of times. I never remember being in processing for that long. Like
No, and in the
there's no
UK it is.
reason for yeah.
No, in the UK, it usually is even faster, like same day or like 2 3 days max. I mean, of course. I mean, it is.
They wanted to get info from him,
Yeah, but the weird
let
thing
him
is
know what was going on.
with the guy this like high, who is this famous and stuff, you would think that they would do everything like according to the book, like to not make any problems for themselves, because like literally the whole world is watching this, like literally. So
Well, I think some of it is on purpose. I think some of it is to show, look, your rights don't count. Right? I think he is being made an example of because of how influential and how long he stood up against them. I think that it's done on purpose. The rule of law doesn't count when you speak up out against the corrupt.
so it would be like a scare tactic or something, that they're doing this on purpose.
Yeah, so I mean, even like what they're doing is completely illegal, but you're going to find a judge to say anything against it? No, not in any way, shape, or form. Doesn't matter what legal precedents you have, right? They're not going to talk to your lawyers. They're always going to rule against you. Inquiry? No. I mean, all of it. So I mean, the system's so corrupt. It's. I don't mean to go back to Standing Rock, but it's like going to a judge in Standing Rock. They're working for the oil companies. You're not going to get a fair trial.
Yep.
They don't care what your lawyers say. You're guilty. Why are we like this? Is all just for show.
Money talks.
Okay, well, the UK got a difficult choice to make then, because like literally within 2 days after Assange was arrested, the European Union passed the whistleblower protection directive, and they have to listen to this. And there is now a protection directive, and yeah.
So, some of it depends on how much the IMF is willing to throw around as well. So I mean that seems to be the reason for the country booting him out to begin with, was because they got a $2 billion check. That's
Yeah,
how much
they
it
could
costs
put him
to
on
throw away your
trial.
freedoms.
They put him on trial. He's a martyr in front of everyone, and it's going to be out there, even more. What are they going to do?
They got $6
6
billion in
more.
the pipeline for Ecuador as well.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
also
so
arrested. They
in
also
addition,
arrested a WikiLeaks programmer in Ecuador when they booted Julian at the same time.
Yeah, so I mean it's pretty obvious they've been. What does it cost to sell out your freedoms? What I guess we figured it out here: $7 billion, and you can pretty much do whatever you want.
They probably lost that much in cyber attacks as well, and it was in the first week.
I mean, I know it hasn't been on the news. We've been posting about it, but I mean, their internet is crippled. Their pages are crippled.
Yeah, there's like 40 million attacks on their country in a matter of days.
But and like every week they get a new warning. Every week they get, the attacks get bigger and spread out to the more and more, entities that are involved.
It's not just malware. Just looks like malware. It's not malware.
Yeah, like I think in the end, like all of these oppressive tactics, you're going to end up, my advice, if you are the people that are in charge, you're better off just letting it go. You'll end up losing everything by going down that line. They always do. They always lose power out of these power games. They never gain it.
No, Ecuador made
It
a
seems like it. It seems like it in the beginning, but it swings so far in the other direction. Once you throw off those shackles, it doesn't work anymore. If you look, even like corporate media, your average person knows that the corporate media is bullshit. They know that. They're not even stressed about it anymore. At first this was a problem. Now they're like, yeah, Fox News, CNN are lying to you. That's what they do.
Yeah.
But they tell you the weather, so that's a win. They'll tell you the new celebrity news, but your average person knows that lying to you. And that's a huge change from before when they were, named the entity, the most trusted name in news. Everybody knows you're bullshitting.
Notice how they don't have fair and balanced in their name anymore, in their slogan anymore? They had to take it down.
Yeah, nobody believes you.
I think the FCC told them that they had to.
You guys aren't fair nor balanced. Knock it off. That is a lie. Well, no, now they use the word opinion news. So, the latest opinions on news. What do you mean the latest opinion? Just tell me the news. I don't need your opinion. Fuck off.
Is it me, or am I hearing a crackling sound on your end?
Well, they've convinced themselves that they need to be heard and their opinions need to be heard. And that's totally false.
Yeah, why would I care about what Wolf Blitzer thinks?
Yeah, it's just like... I've talked to a few of them. They honestly think that because they're in the business, they know more and more of what's going on, so they need to tell you. And of course, it's always biased, leftist biased for the most part.
Yeah, they're slick at it. At
it's
least
nonsense,
right.
Yeah.
The right is much more direct, right, with how they speak, with issues that they have. The left's bias, they like to have it very it's all underneath the surface in many ways, and it doesn't take and I don't want to get too much into it just because it's everywhere but right now, but the push for Biden.
Oh yes, I saw that all today.
On the outside, yeah, I'm just done with it. But on the outside, you've got, they'll put the headlines, Vice President Joe Biden, he's been there for you. He's really taking back American values and policies, but not on the outside. That seems legit if you know absolutely nothing about Joe Biden or the policies that he supports.
None of them support us right now, anyways. They're not for us.
Especially not Biden. That is a low blow. Come on.
No, Joe. Yeah, I mean, especially with his boy being, put in as an oligarch over the gas. What is it? The Russian, Ukrainian subdivision of Gazprom. It's like, give me a break. You Democrats are all
natural
about
gas pipeline.
Fossil fuels are bad unless it's about your boy being the oligarch. Well, then fossil fuels are okay. So they love big oil, man. They, especially when there's money to be made.
Oh my God, and the worst. And Joe Biden is one of the worst. One of the worst.
He is. Yeah, he's totally bought and paid for it. It's amazing.
It's like Clinton without all the horrible personality, a different way of horrible personality. There's no difference in policy, but where she's got a personality like an angry pit bull, he's got a personality like that Doberman that's always humping your leg.
The angry pit bull when it was a puppy.
No. He's got he don't mean nothing by it, right? Everybody's got a friend that every once in a while his dog tries to come up and hump your leg. He doesn't mean anything by it. He's just being Biden. I love how he tried to push that, hey, times are changing. It's just not a cool time to sneak up behind somebody else's wife, massage their shoulders, and sniff their hair. Dude, when has that ever been cool? When has it ever been cool to run up behind somebody's wife, feel her up, and sniff her hair? That has never been cool. 1960, 1950, 1900, right? That is
now here's the problem. Here's the problem they have. That's a way you get into the top. If you want to move up, you got to start doing stuff like that. And since it's a problem, well, then you guys just aren't going to go anywhere.
Oh yeah, that was one of the guys.
Right.
One of the women's husbands, right? And they're like, well, how did you deal with it? How come you didn't do anything? He's like, I did. This is my wife trying to get into politics. This is her career. What am I going to lay out in the middle of this of her acceptance speech? Right? I'll never hear the end of it. So Biden's got his, and that's, I would have that problem too at a certain point, but Biden's got his hand on the small of her back, and he does the thing like a husband that doesn't want to whoop your ass in the front of everybody. He puts his hand underneath it and gives you that, yeah, buddy, smile. You know what I mean?
See his teeth crack.
Yeah, come on, keep your hands to yourself. I don't want to break your jaw, homie. Right? That was exactly the face that you see every one of the people that he does that to looks completely uncomfortable.
Well, he's just looking for that one. He just needs one. That's it. He doesn't care if he has to go through 20 or 30 to get there, you know?
Yeah.
He don't even care if it's on video. You know, he knows the cameras are right there. I mean, come on.
It's just super creepy. Like, he does have a creep vibe. And then on top of it, like, this is the thing that why I think people have jumped all over me. You know, the policies are what make him extra creepy. Someone that voted for the things that he's voted through his career, the speeches that he's gave that have made our world horrible, is going to smile at me like that?
Well, he was
That
just
is
over.
creepy as fuck.
He was at some Jewish convention the other day and said he's a Zionist. He'll say anything. I don't, you know, who knows what he really stands for? I mean, I believe him. It's like, yeah, Joe, you'll be wherever the money's at. That's where you are.
Yeah, I agree. I know we're naming that new Golan Heights town after Trump.
Yeah, they're gonna name it like Donald Trump or some shit. They have the village.
Yeah,
It's gonna be it should be called Goyville. That's what it should be called. We need shekels for Goyville.
If you shekels, if you
the Germans didn't want him back.
If you watch the video that he gives in that one, if you change it to black and white, it looks like those weird, like his body movements, the like people running around. It looks like the Hitler family vacation videos. Have you guys seen any of those? They're like these black and white videos that Hitler did of, you know, him frolicking in Bavaria somewhere with his family.
Yeah,
I'm disturbed that you're watching that.
Know your enemy. Anyway,
can't get away from these white power people.
Yeah, fuck, man. I don't like them knowing anything I don't know. And when people come at you with things, they expect you not to have any information about your enemy. I want to know everything about my enemy. How they walk, how they talk, how they interact with their families, the look in their eyes, the food that they're eating. I want to know everything about my enemy so I can deconstruct them. And they fit into that category. But when you watch those videos, there is an eerie similarity between the two. Like an eerie similarity between the two. Change them to black and white, and you're all like, wow, this is too close for comfort.
Now, which scumbag are we talking about here, Karen?
This is Bibi. This is Netanyahu.
Oh, yeah.
When he said that he was giving the Golan Heights, naming them after Trump, he did in a family vacation video because they go to a family vacation in this area. And it's like way up on the top of the mountain, green hills. It is.
It's probably some nice real estate. I mean, you know, you can count on that. I mean, that's one reason.
It is.
Yeah.
Even from the video, you can see the dollar signs every time he talks.
And there's oil.
Sky rises. Yeah. Oh my God. Where to start, man? Where to start? It's getting worse.
Well, you got Cheney on the board of Genie Energy. You got a Rothschild. Cheney's on that board. God, who's the other one?
But is
Zuckerberg.
this
It's a.
Oh my God! Did you guys see the Buttigieg? The Buttigieg picture with him and Zuckerberg?
What?
No.
So you know Pete, the
Bud Buddy.
Mayor Pete.
Yeah, from where's South Bend, Indiana? Yeah. So yeah, he I guess he posted a bunch of like selfies of him and Mark Zuckerberg driving around shooting the shit. I mean, what would you possibly? And he's smiling. Zuckerberg looks as awkward and uncomfortable as Zuckerberg always looks.
He got three lawsuits handed to him today, in 3 different countries.
He gets a lawsuit. He gets a lawsuit every week. I can't tell the future, but I guarantee you next week there's going to be an accidental leak of information, the same weekly accidental leak of information, personal information we have from Facebook.
Are you pulling a play out of Q's playbook?
Yeah, like it's just not. I don't know. There's not. Yeah, that was. How hard is it to know that? See that coming? Like once a week they have a leak. It's not hard to say. We don't have any like inside information other than their code being trash, their security being trash, and them wanting to sell your personal information.
Yeah, that's funny. Like 10 years ago, he was, he'd be on those clips like, "Oh no, no, no! I will never sell your personal information. No Facebook, privacy and all this nonsense." And you could tell
Yeah,
you back in that the little weasel was going to do it.
Oh,
We should update
I
our
was
listeners on the Facebook situation. Or did we say it already? That
No, we
the
didn't
new
say it.
Facebook head lawyer is the same lady who wrote the Patriot Act.
Wow, imagine
The new
that.
Facebook head lawyer is
How do
actually
these
she
people?
redacted
How
it.
do these people keep getting employment?
That's because that's how you get the multi-billion-dollar platform without and by using user data. You know what I mean? Of course, all these people they're
The
sneaky
biggest
fucks.
giveaway of people's rights and by extension personal information, right? That's who you're hiring to handle.
No, when somebody with the last name of Rothschild or some rich banker says, can you do this for me? And your answer is supposed to be okay. They're looking for yes men. It doesn't matter how illegal or unconstitutional it is. They need yes men. Do you want to be a yes man? Do you or don't you?
No.
All
I
right.
can't even say yes to that. No, I do not.
We're gonna have to ask somebody else then.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, not only we have to destroy you and ask somebody else. Because what was that when they told oh goodness, was another social media platform when they told him he had to give up everybody's personal information, he just shut down the servers.
Oh yeah, what was that? That was an email place, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Email
and he's all like,
server.
okay, yeah, fuck you guys. That's exactly how you're supposed to handle that. So take notes. No, but it just seems like the William Barrs, this lady. Like, are you able to, like, how are you? Why, or is that exactly how the job posting is, right? Looking for evil individual willing to give away civil rights, human rights, all rights.
Feckless, no honor, no ethics.
Yeah, it has to be.
If you check those boxes, especially, oh well, fuck, we got one right here. Look at this guy, totally feckless. Wow, man.
Yeah, you think that their eyes get bigger as they're reading it? That's me.
I can do that. How much money?
Right up my. That's right up my torturers needed. That's right up my alley.
And I have immunity. Oh well, shit. Sign me up. I can do anything I want.
Yeah, it's
$60,000.
Well, I get paid that anywhere, man. I mean, come on. If I'm going to have to be illegal and unconstitutional, you're going to have to pay me a lot more than that. Let's be serious.
Yeah, I mean, what is her salary at Facebook? Something phenomenal.
Probably 150, 200 a year, maybe.
I'd say
depends on certifications.
Yeah, I'd say probably more.
I would bet more. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like. I can't.
Wait a minute. You're a lawyer, and you're going to have to stick your neck out for this Madison Avenue puppet. Oh no, fuck you, man. I ain't doing that.
Well, no, I just think it's more of a direct pipeline into the NSA and the users of the Patriot Act. That's more than obvious. That's like it's just the new revolving door that is our lobby system, right? You go to the private sector to the when it comes to information collecting, right? Who's better than Facebook? Right? So when you're done with Facebook for a little bit and that finally crashes, or you take your payouts and then you go back and work in the public sector again.
Isn't fascism great? I mean, repackaged now as the public-private partnership. Let's put some lipstick on that pig.
I wouldn't be surprised if they know what size shoe you wear and the curve of your arch, and if you have an extra toe or not within your shoe.
Oh, you'd be lucky if that was the least bit of information that they have.
They know your IP.
It's not my IP that I'm worried about. It's all the other shit that they fucking acquire.
Yeah,
it's like
they claim to.
Yeah, go ahead.
They claim to have 2,200 different identifiers on each person.
Ooh, I wonder what mine are.
Yeah, most of it's a lot of it's done by hovering over stuff and affiliations on what you look and if you like this, you click on that. There's all sorts of crazy shit that they do.
I think mine just probably says "fuck Monsanto" over and over and over again.
They
Yeah,
also
well,
keep these
water
huge
protectors, come on.
databases.
Yeah, you're a domestic terrorist. You water protectors are just totally dangerous.
That is a lie. We are environmental terrorists, is what they call us.
Oh, if you prefer, okay.
They're ready for that.
That works. As long as it has
Rocket
terrorist in
raccoon
it.
over here.
I just think if you're going to call me a terrorist, I just think it should roll off the tongue a little bit better. Environmental terrorist sounds sexy. I like it.
These guys keep such big databases that like if you are like on Facebook and you enter in like a chat and you have like your microphone and your webcam, that it's possible to activate, and they can detect the type and the version number of your webcam and of your microphone, and by combining this, they already know exactly on which laptop or which phone you are. For example, they have it in their database.
And I think we updated the Apple tools the law enforcement illegally uses against activists, journalists.
ICE has been using it as well to track down people.
Yeah, so I mean, there are some serious security issues inside of Apple devices that are there specifically for. I'm not too keen on using the word law enforcement because that's not what they are. Enforcing any laws, they're not. They're Gestapo. You know what I mean? They're secret police. They're things like oil company mercenaries. These aren't really what you would see as being law enforcement. This isn't the cop that's helping people get out of a fire. These are bad people. And they've got access to tools that are spent to nothing but violate your rights, really. Get personal information, track where you are. If they don't like something that you're seeing or something that you might like, you don't have to be like some sort of leadership or high level or be involved in anything, right? All you have to do is be in a freedom of speech site, right? A Second Amendment site, a alternative news site gives them the ability to use this. Well, you know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that we're looking for.
Well, they're not even going to need that for long. I've been talking about 911i. I don't know if you guys have actually been able to find anything on it, but it's the equivalent of what the UK uses. I think it's called 666i. I'm not for sure the numbers on it, but
who names this shit?
Yeah, well,
like
the police can check you where you at from your phone, just through your camera. They can turn on your camera and find you.
Well, and I mean, England has some pretty draconian, monitoring laws. So I mean, I think every square foot of London is under CC camera.
999. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's
yeah, it's the Gulag system. It's GULAG instead of GOOGLE.
Yeah, and I mean, they already use, you saw after 9/11 in a lot of these like police investigations where they've shot unarmed people, they use these same like laws and rules and tools to go through and collect all the video up from the area. So, even if you're a personal business that has, a CC camera up in your, in your store or whatever, if there's something that they don't want people to see or they don't like, they come in and take it, hack it, whatever they need to do to get rid of it. Yeah, it's a nightmare, guys. Like, there's a lot. It's nothing that we can't like stop, but it's insane the amount of power that we've given really horrible people.
So our chat on YouTube is very busy. I'll just give a shout out to Wait a Sec again for being there, keeping our chat alive. People ask in the chat on YouTube, how can they find out if they are on a watch list of the government? Maybe someone can answer that.
I was told I was on a watch list.
Yeah, so there are a couple of ways. There are a couple of ways that you can get a hold of that info through Freedom of Information Act. So you pretty much put together the Freedom of Information Act packet, and send it into whichever agency that you think is watching you. And most times they do get back to you, whether you are or aren't. They don't always have to, depending on which agency it is. So I mean, if NSA writes you back and says you're not on a watch list, yeah, right, okay. The fact that you wrote them, you're probably on one. But in what watch list you're on, well, you're not on the official terrorist watch list. You're on the alternative journalist watch list. They get you in these specifics and loopholes. You're not officially on a watch list. You're
you
on
find out when you go through TSA.
List.
Well, that's Google.
There's times when they'll let you fly. Like, you're on the watch list. It doesn't necessarily bar you from flying or buying firearms. They found some pretty bad people that were on watch lists, and they weren't barred from doing anything. In fact, it seems like they were watching them to make sure that they were doing something bad.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be much logic necessarily of who, you'll see people that actually are worse, and yet they don't have all the TSA problems and whatnot, or they're not denied. And then others that might just be mouthy, but I guess they take offense to that.
Yeah, the mouthiness I don't like. I mean, the people that they, there's reasons sometimes, and I don't, this isn't conspiracy. They let bad shit happen to take advantage of it. That's the game. When you have somebody that's a horrible terrorist that's able to fly, pretty much unimpeded around the U.S. or around the world, sometimes that's on purpose. They want a terrorist attack. They want you to fly. They want you to get there. Right? They've got things like the Patriot Act to pass, and that's not going to happen unless some people die. Unless I can build an enemy, and you're that enemy.
Well, if you're not getting vaccinated, you're probably on a watch list as well.
Someone said that in the chat too, that if you didn't get a flu shot, you're probably on the watch list.
Oh, yeah?
I think New York.
I heard in New York, if you don't have your shots, you can't be in public and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like they're going to enforce that.
Yeah, I was going to say, New York's got 8 million people living in the city? Something like that? Maybe, I think, isn't 8? Yeah. 10, I think.
Well,
10.
and there's not a huge amount of people that aren't vaccinated. So, I mean, a lot
I don't
of
know, man. This is ridiculous. Like, there was, measles wasn't it wasn't a disease in the United States for a good 15 years, and then we got these anti-vaxxers saying hey, you shouldn't get your children vaccinated, and next thing you know, we have a measles outbreak.
Well, some of it is because, and I don't, some of it has to do with the huge push in Africa and Southeast Asia of these really psychotic evangelical Christians that came in. And I mean, these are, the people that you'd pretty much say are fucking crazy, Westboro Baptist Church style. And unfortunately, it was super popular. It just took over the same way that evangelical Christianity took over America, but with a whole darkness, evil on top of it. And that caused a lot of people to not get vaccinated and these diseases to affect them. So you had the same as, it's really bad for gays now in Africa, and that's with that same Westboro Baptist Church kind of evangelical Christian that was pushed over there through all sorts of nonprofits and all of that. That's why you've seen that change. There wasn't a problem with anti-homosexual issues in Africa for thousands of years, and the rise in it when that religious practice became pretty popular in Africa, and these are the repercussions of it. But yeah, the worst people to fix it is the government. Have you named a problem that the government has ever been able to fix?
Let's kill moms.
No.
They're bad managers usually.
Yeah, they're really, really bad at this. In 1776, it seemed like we were going on the up and up.
Oh, what is going on?
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Alex Jones.
But then by the time we
outside of the White House,
by the time we got rid of slavery, it seemed like we were on our way. Abolitionist was hot. And
I don't know. All of a sudden, the Alex Jones video was playing in the background. I don't even know how long that was going on for.
Oh my God!
That new
I don't
one.
know. I had to take a call from work, and I guess I hit something.
Oh, no.
Man!
I
We
don't
do
know.
not. We are not advertising for Alex Jones in any way, shape, or form.
Well, no, I was because Preston sent me that video where the BitChute video where Alex Jones was at the White House today. I had to watch him, get on the megaphone and yell at
I bet
yell
you
at
they
Jack
put
Dorsey.
some extra security there that day.
Yeah.
Well,
I
no,
thought it
you
was
would think
funny.
so. I mean, he was bullhorning a long time, and nobody ever came to shut him up. I think it was a setup. But he was bullhorning Dorsey and them anyway, so piss on him.
Oh yeah. If our listeners don't know, Jack Dorsey was at the White House today talking with Donald Trump, and from the videos and from the pictures, we think that it was about his posts.
Well, did you see the pictures though? He looks like he is being told like the look on his face.
He's like, that's not how it
told
works.
The stupidest shit I have ever heard.
He's like,
You
you mean
make a
there's
bad
a
impression,
face?
you go to his office.
To me, that was like a visit to the principal's office. It's like if you were serious about that, he'd be getting a warrant and an indictment. Mm-hmm. That's if you were serious.
I don't know if you could. I don't know if you could like give him a warrant and indictment for violating your company's policy on Twitter. And there's always the thing where you're all like, "Look, man, I'll shut it down altogether." Then what?
Zuckerberg.
What do you mean they can't do it? I mean, they just shut them down like anybody else they want to shut down. Except if you're one of the boys. If you're one of the boys, then you're okay.
I just don't understand why you're censoring me. Well, because he was using the Game of Thrones thing that was taken down. There's been any music that he's ever used other than oh, come on. What are the two musicians that are huge Trump fans? Cat
Kanye?
Scratch Fever and I always forget about Kanye. Is he a musician still? Is he still doing that?
I think he's crazy.
I think he's just straight up. Did you see his Coachella shit?
No,
he's making money off of shoes.
To revive his career.
Yeah, I don't know how even to explain what the travesty that he put on at Coachella.
What did he do?
So he was doing this whole I'm bringing them to church thing. So he did a Baptist revival. Everybody got dressed up in clothes but I think it's a good metaphor. Both and then he was selling T-shirts that said what was it? Jesus is Lord or some shit like that. $256 for a hoodie that says Jesus is life or Jesus is Lord on it.
But he's he's mentally ill, like literally.
Oh, he's losing it. And then he did his live stream from it. So the video from it, he did through a fisheye camera. So it looks like you're seeing it through a little hole. And man, I don't even know where to start, dude. Honestly, I think it is a good metaphor for Kanye West, especially on how religion and especially the Baptist Church has been used to oppress Black and brown people for the entire history.
But you know how many times?
America.
How many times has Kanye called himself fucking God?
I can. I
a lot.
Even now, the name Ye is specifically a reference to God as well.
That's why he's literally referred to himself as God a whole bunch of times. Like especially when he gets pissed off, he goes, "I'm fucking God. I'm fucking. You can't." But you know what I mean? He's fucking crazy.
Yeah, he's lost it.
Autism is a hell of a drug.
Isn't
money
into the black magic and Satanism and all that too? I mean, they're not all there.
I think Kanye was always crazy, but I just think it's until now everybody realized it.
Well,
as long as he was cranking out good rap,
Yeah, and then he started and it has went in he went from there was some real power, man. Not no one man should have all that power. That was a great fucking song. There was a couple. No Church was another one with Jay-Z that was a really great song. Fuck, man, he has lost all of that. Whatever inspiration has been eaten by money and politics and. I don't know, I think just being surrounded by those rich people in those neighborhoods, he started to believe it.
Yeah.
Or it's the Kardashians are actually succubi. What's more than one succubus? Succubi?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Have you seen a man come into that house and not be
Hoover.
completely destroyed? They all leave there crazy in one way or another. What was the basketball player, right? Top of his fucking game, right? ODing on fucking drugs and hoe houses in fucking California. Or in
Charlie
Nevada
Sheen.
less than 6 months. 6 months, and you destroyed that guy.
Did you hear that Kim Jong gave us a gave the United States a $2 million bill for that dead kid they gave us? And they fucking killed him. I mean, they gave him botulism and then sent him to us. We're like, we don't know what to do.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, like, that sounds about
It's
right.
messed up.
God.
And we laughing about it.
Oh, no, it is fucked up, but it's like problems that we've made.
You know what he was
right?
in prison
And then-
for? Like, this is the most fucked up shit. Like, he was in prison for like a good 5, 6, 7 years for stealing a sign in a hotel. Which is kind of dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in the DPRK, you really shouldn't be. I wouldn't be caught dead there, but you should probably do what they're
That
telling
was
you.
a bad idea. That was a
really bad idea. But because of our, the rest of our policies in the game and the, you know what I mean, all of that shit, that's what happens. What normally would have been a slap on the wrist turns into, how can we use this to fuck with our enemies, right? It's not about you. You know, people like, yeah. But on the same note, I wouldn't steal anything in.
Yeah, him and Putin were playing with swords and shit today. You know.
But
they gave each other a sword.
Happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't they look so happy? You have to admit, they were. I mean, you should play like the Best Friend song and the Best Friend.
You want to see my sword?
You like communism? I like communism. Yeah, I don't know exactly. Yeah, or maybe they talked about their prison systems. Like yes.
Well,
North Korea does prisons.
No,
but Russia really
DPRK in Russia. Russia's been giving them internet for the last 2 years. So
yeah, because they share a border.
Yeah.
And I mean, part of the reason the only reason we have a North and South Korea is not because the North and South Koreans felt like splitting up their country down the middle. America split up during the war, right? America took the top half and Russia split up the back. We split up that country, Russia and America, not the North Koreans and South Koreans. Like the DMZ, all of that, right? That was us and the Russians, not the Koreans. Just for the listeners that want to look at a little bit of history from that, the nightmare that is the North Korean conflict is completely manufactured by the U.S. and Russia.
I was like, yeah, dude, that war was over. Like, well, not to them, but.
Oh no, that's the deal with endless wars, right? We go on with wars for so long, you don't even remember what you went to war for. Right, we got to stop communism from going into South Korea. Is that why we're still at war with South Korea? No. We make up a reason every 20 years or so because you need one. Otherwise, people are like, "Why are we doing this again?" Because communism. I don't really care about communism. So yeah, they're gonna have to do their economic system. Seems like that should be their business, right? Yeah, so they don't like the game has to change every couple of years.
Do you remember the late 80s when we were still doing the bomb things? Remember they tell you get under your desk?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like that's gonna do
nuclear.
That's gonna
you
do
are
anything.
So fucked. But it's to help you feel confident. A lot of people don't realize this. Your military issue ballistic helmet is not bulletproof. It's barely fucking bullet resistant. But it makes you feel like you might. I'm not shitting you, right? It won't stop anything, but it makes you feel like it would, right? You'll run into battle like your head is protected. It is not. Ballistic, like actual bulletproof helmets, are heavy as shit. They're those big ass, they got a big 6-inch plate, shield in the front. The standard issue ballistic helmet is not bulletproof in any way, shape, or form.
I've heard of two or three guys that have had their lives saved by the Kevlar, and it was a freak struck stroke of luck from physics where like
it ricocheted off the side. It's round.
No, it rolled around in the inside like it hit the perfect tangent on the roundness of there and entered into and just
its shape protects you more than the bullet resistance part. So it being round keeps the bullet from hitting you dead on, right?
Designed to deflect.
Yeah, but it's definitely not. But that's kind of the same thing, right? It gives you a confidence that you wouldn't have. Everything's okay, right? We can hide under our desk. We're not screaming in panic. You're not just saying fuck it and going out and smoking a joint in the middle of the yard. Like what to do in case of a nuclear attack? Smoke a joint? Yeah, fuck, man. This is about. What do you mean? What are you
ain't got much time. Yeah. 10, 15 minutes.
Well, I mean, it depends. Like, what should you do in a nuclear strike? I can tell you what you shouldn't do. You shouldn't destroy the entire planet in response. That's probably
Let's go rob the liquor store.
I don't even think
put your head between your knees and kiss your ass goodbye.
Yeah, I don't think you have to even rob them at that point. Like your day is coming to a swift end. If you could get into a basement, that might be your best chance. But man, the rubble fill. It's just you're so screwed. The important part is that we don't get into this like, well, if you punch me, I'm going to commit suicide game. You have to think like the threat isn't that North Korea is going to destroy the world. The threat isn't that a nuclear attack will destroy the world. Our response destroys the world. So if some rogue nation chucks off a nuclear weapon, our response is to kill absolutely everyone. That's fucking crazy. Like I said, if you punch me in the face, I will kill everyone in here, including myself. Bad planning.
Mutually assured destruction.
Yeah, that is insanity. Mutual assured destruction is insanity. When the people that you're up and they make it sound like
well, I thought we were over this in the 80s. I thought this was over, and then, but apparently everybody got the memo. Maybe got
no,
maybe,
now
maybe we need to show that movie again. Remember in the 80s where open up people's eyes to like nuclear holocaust? What was in the 80s? It was the day the Earth stood still or some shit.
But have you considered space nukes? We may not even be prepared correctly for that.
Oh.
Hey, I heard they're going to launch a Falcon Heavy at an asteroid here in a couple of years. It's as one of their deflection tests. I don't know if it's going to carry a bomb on it or not, but it's a Falcon Heavy. I mean, it ought to do some damage.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what their plan would be. Nuclear explosions aren't particularly outside of atmosphere because it takes the atmosphere to burn off, to give the heat, to give the shock wave, to do the stuff that does all the damage. I know in tests from post World War II, nuclear weapons detonated in space, they make a cool explosion because of the explosives in them, but not the nuclear reaction that you're looking for because there's no atmosphere. Whether that would be able to push away an asteroid, whether they just landed on there, and it doesn't take a lot to deflect them in one direction or other if it was going to hit you. Some rocket boosters, to move it just a couple of centimeters in one direction or another may be enough. We're going to have to find out. I know we capped the last one. The Japanese shot it, didn't they?
No, it was India shot out a satellite last week.
No. The Japanese landed on a satellite and fired a bullet into it.
Oh yeah. It was that they landed on an
asteroid. It was a comet or something.
Yeah. An asteroid.
Yeah, but that's just a little. That's a small.
I think it missed us. I think I know his name. I was one
it seems like, if you slam a Falcon Heavy into it with a big enough nuke, that's got to do something. I mean, just blast it to dust.
I think what they do is DARPA's plan was they have a satellite out there that it's two parts. So the initial one blows up like so many feet from the surface and creates a dent in it, and then they have another one that launches after that that goes inside and obliterates into pieces.
Double tap.
I want to see it from Earth. It needs to be so big that I can see it from Earth.
I want an explosion that lights up the night sky.
Supernova. What about just for a few seconds?
Watch, and all the electronics don't work anymore.
Yeah, we destroy somebody else's planet. Right.
What about the other aliens? I don't think they talk, to be honest.
Well, you can
To be
practice on the
honest,
moon.
I don't think that they. Even if there are, I've seriously been thinking. I know we haven't done an alien episode in a while, but I've seriously been thinking about a lot of the things that an alien race would bring, and I don't think that it's war that they're scared of. I think that they're worried about them bringing things like a system that'll filter all of your water, right? A system that that can produce food, a system that produces infinite power. That could be a real danger. Medication that they give you a shot that keeps you from getting sick. These are things that a alien technology would have, and I think they would fear those much more than weapons. That an alien ship lands and gives you a shot that makes you immune to everything. Gives the world, the cure to disease in general.
Well, they're going to take good care of you because as the new slave on the block, they need you. They want to keep you. They need good workers.
That's just the lizards, right? I don't know if that's all.
Going to the salt mine.
Yeah, I mean, they're not the good guys. Let's come on. Are we the good guys? Are we going to go out there? Oh, we're so benevolent. We're going to. No, fuck no. We're going to colonize this planet and rape it for all its resources. That's what we do.
Damn, Michael, you hit that shit too hard.
That wasn't me.
Think they're going to be any different? It's like, yeah, we're just cruising around on a family trip, and oh, hey, there's Earth. Wow, let's go check it out. It's like, oh, come on, man.
I think that'd be a Windows up moment. Windows up.
We'd be lucky.
Yeah, Earth, let's go check it out. Ah! Fuck you! All right, guys.
We brought sandwiches.
Did you see what the fuck those monkeys are doing to each other down there? Next planet. Whew. One Trump speech, and I'm pretty sure they'd be putting that bad boy in reverse in a heartbeat.
Oh, did you see that Trump was actually threatened by? I was laughing when Joe Biden was like going to run, but then Trump was actually threatened by this guy. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, his post.
Yeah, he was threatened by him.
I don't think that Trump. I think Trump is probably threatened by Bernie by just the amount of posts that he's had with the whole socialism thing.
Yeah, they're trying to. I see what they're trying to do to Bernie already, and they're trying to put stuff he's saying out of context of over one thing where well, what he's saying is that basically they took one sentence, they put it out of context, and basically what he was trying to say is that everybody should be able to vote,
have the right to vote. I think that it backfired big time. Even Cher had posted, a kind of what the fuck moment, that the summer should have the right to vote and all of that.
Context. It was he was not saying that these were good people.
Out of context.
These were bad people.
Come back.
Yeah.
You immediately come back and say, okay, well, what about the millions and millions of people that you illegally put into prison as felonies for having a little bit of pot on them? They don't have the right to vote. That's the corrupt system that we're talking about. If the prison industrial complex wasn't so corrupt, this wouldn't be an issue. But
I bet you Jeffrey Epstein could still vote. Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, and they labeled off, rapists and murderers and child molesters. Rapists and murderers, maybe. Child molesters, no. Your right to vote will not be taken for molesting children. Right? That's in a lot of places that's specifically not done. So
they pay that child support though.
Yeah, child support. Fuck, you ain't gonna have the right to vote. Like our prison system is so overwhelming. We can argue all day about the racist part of it, right? That's relatively known. It's over it's overwhelmingly poor people that you've taken the right to vote. Otherwise, we start voting for ourselves. This is done on purpose. The prison industrial complex is used to suppress our votes through the felony system. But
I remember being able to vote when I was still, on parole though. I was like, how did they fuck that one up?
Well, and there's places that they're trying to push. Well, if you pay a fine or something, then you can buy back your right to vote. Yeah, who would have saw that coming? Again,
well, that is actually weird. That is only in the United States where they take away your right to vote if you're in prison. Just saying.
Not only, but
they don't want it to change.
Not in Europe.
Well, yeah, I don't understand it. So you break society's rules, or you make a plea bargain for your shit, so they take away your right to vote. That makes no sense.
No. Well, I mean, Yeah, there's look, yeah, we can all the Boston bomber. I understand we can use the like terrorist thing to scare everybody, right? But the people that are actual like like terrorists and murderers, you're looking at 1,000 people. That are to that level of bad. Now there's murder is a thing that happens, but the when it comes to like these terrorists and shootings and all of that, this is not a huge number of our population at all. So the fact that the Boston bombers, some of these people were already putting to death. You're going to lose your right to vote when we give you the chair. You know that, right? And it's like there's a whole like I said before, our prison industrial complex is so corrupt, and that's what the vote is connected to. And when you look at the people that it affects, and then the things that they're affecting it for, cocaine convictions. Well, if you were just a lawyer that got caught with a couple of keys, people make mistakes. If you got caught with a couple of grams of crack, well, you're going to prison forever, felon. Right? You don't get to vote. You don't get to vote that those laws are unfair.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing, because if you ever were like arrested for like selling or like possession of like marijuana, right? And they're actually voting now to legalize all that stuff in different places, but you can't vote for that. And what if it's legalized and stuff? You're not allowed to vote. It's very strange.
Well, they legalize it, but then they take your guns away later. That's one of the tricks is to give it to you for a little while.
All the records they have to expunge.
I don't think it's as hard as you think. So what you do is you press Control or press Shift A, right, or Control A, depending on how you've got it set up, and that'll highlight everybody's marijuana convictions. And then you just press the delete button, and it'll take care of all of them at once. Boom, done.
Yeah, but you have a commercialized prison system. That's the weird thing. I'm thinking like arresting these old guys like Biden and stuff is not going. They're not no benefit to the commercial prison system. You need strong young people. So you need to have people who do actual labor for these guys. Yeah.
Yeah, in numbers. I mean, they do make money from slave labor, but most of their money, when we talk about slavery in the prison industrial complex, it's just you being in the cage that makes the money. Right? So they get paid per person that's in one of those cells, and sometimes they get paid in advance for those, which is why you see like 3 strikes rules, some of the prison reform acts that Joe Biden pushed. Those are all set up to keep more people in prison. And yeah, I think there is like a fear that if felons vote, then when you have a situation where you've got millions and millions of people in jail for a crime, it's probably not a crime. Right? So you wouldn't want those people to be able to vote, because what you overwhelmingly have people in prison for is marijuana convictions.
Yeah, I was going to say
90%
of people in jail in the United States are for drug convictions. That's it.
I think they thought they would slow that down by doing that, but it's
ridiculous.
Still turned on that.
The war on drugs.
It didn't work.
Well, they went. This is their thing, though. They always go too far. When it was the person that you didn't know, right? It wasn't. People weren't willing to speak out. But now you've got it. That every single person that has somebody that's wrongly incarcerated. Sometimes in some places you can name off right off the bat 4 or 5 people in your that are wrongly incarcerated. And that became like the truth. It went from, those black people over there, those poor people, that just happens in the trailer park, right? And now it went from over there to my friends have been arrested, right? My cousins and brothers and sisters and, your people have been arrested. And then it becomes, we got to do something. The baby boomers getting old, too. When they were young and spry, right? It was everybody, you get caught with weed, everybody in prison. Now that their back's hurting a little bit and their knees are hurting a little bit, they're like, maybe we should smoke weed. I can't afford fucking health care. Like, the baby boomers have been a huge push for that very reason.
Yeah, now think about, when you vote, see, they always throw all these, usually stuff that they want you to vote for. Like, they want you to pass money and bonds and all this. So they need yes people, good slaves. If you've been in jail and you have an anti-government stance, you're not going to give a fuck about all that. You're like, fuck them. No, I ain't going to spend any money. So they can't have you vote. You're not going to go along with their nonsense as much as a regular slave.
Go along, get along plan.
Oh yeah, you can't leave
Yeah.
the state, and you're definitely not going to vote for the people that put you in prison for a plant.
Yeah,
Can't
or they
leave
want more
state,
money for another
country.
jail. You're going to go, no, fuck you. I don't want
No,
that.
I'm definitely not paying for another jail.
No.
I saw the last one you had. Close that place.
Because they know you're
Supermax, like that's the deal. Like all these non-violent crimes, and every single one of them is supermax, supermax, super duper max. Right? Like, why do you need all of this? Like all of this, it's a whole industry that's built to oppress us, no doubt. But back to the share thing, she posted it and took it back down because it was just filled with people telling her like the truth that maybe you didn't hear before. You're rich white in America. You don't know anything about the prison industrial complex.
Yeah, never been, huh?
Yeah, that doesn't make. I mean, it makes no sense to you.
Did you live in a kennel when you were a kid? Ask a kennel kid. Yeah.
Well, it is kind of weird that you have like more people in prison working for free than the entire working population of an average Scandinavian country, right?
Yeah.
This is like literally more. There are more people in jail right now there than there are like in the entire country of Sweden as a working population.
Hey,
So
Yeah,
Hey,
at
yeah,
any
we're-
given
we're
time,
number-
there's
we're
like
number
so
one.
many million people. Like, I think there's like 20 million people in the United States behind bars.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like the crimes that these are not, like I said, these aren't rapists and murderers.
And that's all
Rapists
drugs.
and like rapists get set out, get kicked out of prison right away. Fuck, you get caught raping somebody 3-4 times before they even get a day in fucking jail, right? You're a child molester, right? You just got to hold out for what, 3 years?
It's an
Shit,
economic
move to another
assassination.
it's really like 20 million. That's really a lot. And it's not just a Scandinavian country. It's like France. You're working for
It's
it.
Oh, yeah.
economic assassination. That's all it is. I mean, you're killing your economic. Who's going to hire somebody with a felony? I got caught with a gram of weed. You know, I got a felony now.
Well, now that we're opening up the weed business, the guy that was in there is like, "What? How about you were in here for? I've been growing marijuana for about 20 years. Hired."
Yeah. Of course.
That's not what they want, though.
No, the Rex Tillersons and fucking and Merck and all of the pharmaceuticals that get involved from it. None of the farmers and small businesses that put their blood, sweat, and tears into fighting marijuana legislation or fighting for marijuana legislation will get any of the benefit. We never do. Brand new technology we're going to use to fuck you.
Who was it here that was just arrested recently in the U.S. for pushing opiates? RXD, is that the name of the name?
Yeah. One of the pharmaceutical companies. I mean, I don't know what exactly he's being charged with either. I did see it on the way by though. Good, they're drug dealers, no doubt. Like the same way that you treated.
Yeah, but at the same time,
the guy in there.
I see the other end of it. Now it's getting to the point where, because politics have got into the way of doctors prescribing medications, where people who normally would get a script for a painkiller, now it's a lengthy process and to get the pills. It's getting to the point where it's getting ridiculous.
Well, I mean, some of that's because they
Now they won't
refuse
give you a 30-day supply of anything else, and now that puts the patients in a worse position.
Really
because,
bad spots.
Yeah, because a lot of patients don't have the copay is anywhere between $30 to $100. You ask somebody who makes minimum wage, they can't afford that.
No, and like the only rules that they've made have been to affect patients that affect patients that are in pain.
No, they applied it
this
to
has
all C2s and C3 medications.
Wow.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, but it's because they refuse to actually prosecute the people that are responsible.
Well, but I mean, the legislation it's just fucking with the medical industry to the point where, people who should normally be getting, pain medication when they're in pain, doctors are now reluctant to do it because it's such a process. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where they went off the rails was when you're a medical patient going to them. They somehow forgot at some point that you're a medical patient. They got scared and, we don't want to give you the pain pills. Well, you're no longer a doctor. That's why I walked away from the U.S. medical system about 10 years ago. It's like, you people are useless. You don't do anything anymore. Why do I need you? Oh, well,
Yeah.
when are you going to come back? Well, I'm not. I don't need you, man. You don't do anything,
Yeah, I'm not getting
Dollar
any care,
bills.
so what's the point? I mean, it's one of those. You've got like that pharmacy that was in like outside of New Jersey or something like that, little town, 500 people. Was pushing out like 1 million prescriptions of fucking oxycodone a year. They don't punish those people, but then it's always on the other side of the doctors and the patients or the people that are suffering, rather than punish the people that are actually responsible.
There's a town named
Yeah.
that had like 3 or 4.
That's why, once again, that's why you don't want the government in your business, because they are bad managers. They don't know what they're doing.
And they expect you to forget like everything that they've ever done.
Or it'll be different next time. No, it's not. You're a liar. It's not going to be any different next time. You're going to fuck me next time too.
Yeah, it's like I know who you are. Like that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like they act like you're going to get some weird amnesia. But I've reinvented myself. No, you're the same asshole you were 4 years ago. No. This time, I know before I seemed like a warmongering pharmaceutical industry puppet, banking puppet. But now I'm a warmongering pharmaceutical puppet that wants to legalize marijuana. Right? That makes all the difference.
They act exactly like junkies.
Did I say the Green New Deal? If I say the new Green New Deal, you'll forget everything that I've done in my past.
Mm-hmm.
They're money junkies. Oh, man, I swear to God.
Money junkies?
I mean, it'll be different. I won't do that. I won't do that shit again.
Yeah, money junkies.
No, it's the gangrene New Deal. Because it's going to give your economy gangrene.
Maybe we should make a machine that'll.
Gang.
Yeah, maybe we should make a machine that automatically slices whatever part has gone gangrenous off. We'll call it like I don't know, something cool in French, guillotine. Yeah. I like it.
Well, they need to start bringing it. What's going on over there? Why is it taking 23, 24 weeks and there's not one ministry building that has been burned down? They're burning down churches, 800-year-old churches. But how about the government?
Oh, do you guys want to hear?
What's going on? You guys, you got to get with it, man. They're burning down your history, and you guys are still dicking around.
There's been a couple, and man, I am so like, I was with I was with everybody else. Like the Notre Dame Cathedral catching on fire was a bad deal. Like it was architecturally was important. All of the artifacts were out, and you're gonna have to rebuild it. Now you're trying to tell me the Catholic Church needs my money? Wait a minute.
Oh no, they can
$1
get their own
billion
money.
Yeah, they got more than $1 billion in donations the first day.
Yeah, unless the first day, 24 hours, you got $1 billion. You're telling me that Jesus Christ, if he got $1 billion fucking dollars, he would want you to spend it to rebuild a church. That's what he would want. It's not like you don't have money.
I don't think so, man.
That
Just
sounds,
for tools
that
and
sounds wrong to
material.
me, doesn't it?
That's just tools and material.
This is the sad part. This is like says all of it in one set, right? France no longer has trees tall enough, right, to make the beams that were on the top of the chapel. So you cut down God's creations to make your fake ass temple to God, and now because you cut down his trees, you can't rebuild it? Too fucking bad. Go replant the fucking trees. Right, like
it's not going to be done in 7 years, guys. You gotta wait.
It wasn't sustainable, is what you're saying.
Come on. Obviously, you weren't building this to God.
I heard they use jet fuel.
Well, there was even holy crap. We got into I got into a 9/11 fucking debate and threw it back the same way because honestly, there was the picture that everybody posted, right, with the cross that was left. The gold part of the cross was left in the middle of the church because the wood burns at a less level than gold does, right? The gold didn't get hot enough to melt down, unlike the beams in 9/11, which did get hot enough to melt down.
Yeah, good point.
You're going to need thermite or something to cut through that bad boy was what I posted on the bottom of it. and they did not like that.
Yeah. I actually came across a really weird news article that you guys probably didn't see. I don't know if you guys have been following what's been going on in the Philippines, but President
I think
Duterte.
we're blaming
about-
everybody, aren't we?
No, about 6 or 7 years ago, Canada dropped off about 100, you know, those crates,
Trash.
full of trash. So
Yeah.
Duterte said
going to
that,
war, baby.
yeah, he says he's going to war with Canada over fucking garbage. This is the same guy who said that he was gonna ramp up on the war on drugs in the Philippines, but what he did is
just murders.
he started murdering drug lords, and it was so bad. I remember hearing about one time when they live streamed them pushing out a drug dealer out of a fucking helicopter, and everybody was cheering and chanting.
They pushed out over the top of the town, all Scar style.
Damn.
God damn.
Yeah, my advice to the president of the Philippines: don't invade over the wintertime. It gets cold in Canada. You're not prepared for that. You're not prepared for that at all.
And Canada, I think Canada said they were more than willing to come and pick it up. I mean, it was like no problem.
No, this has been a battle.
Damn.
And
that was
this has
coming
been-
from their
holdup?
embassy. So
They've said they were going to pick up this trash ages ago. It's been sitting at the docks forever. So they had this thing where they said,
man.
about a bunch of these Pacific countries were really getting into recycling. It was a big, there was a moneymaker. There were jobs. So other countries, to make themselves look better, would say, hey, we've got a 100% recycle rate, right? We recycled everything. Just means they sent their trash to somewhere else. And they tried... There's places in Africa that you go, and I mean, these are not just the canisters like they're showing that went down in the Philippines, but I mean, gigantic cargo ships. I mean, the biggest cargo ships you can imagine, and they just fill them with trash and run them ashore. That's it. And you'll walk down a beach that's pristine on the coastlines in Africa, and it looks like a ship graveyard of these Western ships. And maybe the ship needed maintenance and they were going to get rid of it anyway, but they just fill it full of trash and then run it onto the shore and then walk away, right? If the government can't do anything about it, fuck them. And in some of these communities, the only resource they have are these huge trash dumps that came from them smashing these ships against the shore. It's disgusting.
Well, I
when
would
you
say
go,
that if he the time to invade Canada or go to war with Canada is now, because Trudeau is such a putz and a pushover that now's the time. He would not know what to do.
Sure
I mean, anybody going to war with
Pacquiao
Canada
can do
was like
most of it
funny. I
himself,
was just
right?
laughing. I was like,
Just
who the fuck?
go ahead.
Yeah, I was like gonna say, go ahead. Who the fuck's
him, man.
gonna go after Canada? Good luck with that.
Fuck Trudeau. Fuck Trudeau. I wish you luck, man.
That'd be like me saying, yeah, what are you attacking today? Oh, we're gonna attack Tasmania just for the fuck of it. Good luck with that.
Like the only time that I saw that like backfire, right? Like Kim Jong-un had came out with that because the only thing that wasn't within our like little protective area was New Zealand, and he came out with like, attack New Zealand with nuclear weapons, and the whole country was all like, why?
What's up,
We
mate?
don't even have a military. Like, yeah.
Yeah, we're like,
Come on.
yeah, go ahead. Prove
Yeah,
it.
no, they were just all like, well, that's. I mean, it wasn't even normally
He's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you all. You know, like the
with
crazy
threats.
kid in
No,
in school.
They were just like, well, that's uncool. And they did. They walked it all back.
Well, because it was all nonsense. I mean, look, you got Fat Boy and Trump, and they're waving sabers at each other. That's ridiculous. Like these two guys. I mean,
real. I think they legitimately like each other. Like I really don't think that any of that's. Look, we haven't went to war with North Korea in 50 years, right? That's just not reality. We've went through what 4 generations now since we went to war. Like I said, we can't even remember why we're at war with North Korea anymore. Nuclear weapons. I get it. Nuclear weapons. They can't have them. We said they can't have them. Every other country on the planet has nuclear weapons.
Threat, and all that.
Yeah, it's space ISIS. Space North Koreans. I mean, are there going to be space North Koreans? Has anybody is the State Department even ready for that? Do you know what to do with Kimchi in space?
I don't know.
Where I think where this is coming from is that like we're planning on going back to the moon like by 2025, and you got the Chinese saying the same thing. So it's on, man.
Yeah, there's gonna be bases on the moon for sure.
Space Force.
Oh my god!
I already heard there
It just
was, and
seems-
Hitler was there.
Is he
You know,
still
them-
there?
And Hitler, yeah, I think he's got moon bases there. Yeah, they're under the moon.
It's all those Nazi
What?
super weapons we didn't find. You know, they got away.
I wouldn't be too surprised. Like I wouldn't be. You know what I mean? You want to discount some of that, but you know, like what's the difference?
I also had
Hey,
a
chances are that all that black money has gone somewhere, and my bet it's on a moon base that nobody knows about.
But even
Nobody.
then, like, what are you doing? Like, who are we attacking in space? There is so much, literally an infinite amount of space. What territory could you be pissing on when you're dealing with space? You know, it's like being on a football field and some guy at the other end saying, "This side's mine! Come over here!" Okay.
Well, you know, if I was
Have
the
it,
Chinese,
man.
I'd say, hey, you guys are going back to the moon in 2025? Well, fuck you. We're going to Mars. You just take over another planet or, you know, something bigger. It's like, okay, whatever. You guys got
And
the
it
moon.
never
We'll
a
take
time,
another
you know,
planet, you know?
we used to have the International Space Station. There's never a time when you're all like you would with somebody
I call this
that
one.
was like normal. Well, no, even then, if you're all like, hey man, I'm gonna go to the store later, right? I'm gonna take off to the moon. You want to come? Yeah, dude, I'm pay for your gas. That's win-win, right? But not these assholes. They're the kind of guy that's all like, hey, I'm running to the store, and then need you to follow him in his car.
It can't be seen with you in the
Yes.
car.
Well,
Yeah, come on. Who are you going to war with in space? It reminds me of that. You remember the general in Mars Attacks that they shrink down and there's like shooting up in the air? They shrink
Yeah,
him to like a little
it's not
tiny.
even safe to like shoot a gun anywhere in space. I mean, if you create a hole in a what do you call it in your
Well, that's why
Vacuum.
Elon Musk came out
Yeah.
with the flamethrowers.
I guess.
What?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
have
that's why
have you ever
Elon
seen a
Musk is-
flame in space though?
yeah, sure. Rockets do it all the time. You
Yeah.
just got to take
Yeah.
your oxidizer with you.
Yes.
Yeah,
true.
so I mean, I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly how, what, when are used, but I can guarantee you, if you meet an alien race in any way, shape, or form, don't point your projectile weapon at them and jump up and down. Like you really, like you don't. Like I don't even know. They might do something crazy,
No,
like
come
turn on
on.
their brights and destroy your planet.
Look, you know, what you have to do to get in the correct frame of mind of these guys is to take a big shot of adrenaline while you're hyped up on steroids, and then you'll understand where they're coming from. It's all roid rage, ego, my planet. You know, it's just total
I just don't
total
understand.
psychopathy, man.
Yeah, these guys traveled from the other side of the universe. They have. I mean, at a certain point of technology, you don't have to have like super weapons, right? If I go back to the 1700s, I can do more damage with my car than an entire army.
Well, it's important
Right?
for
At a
them to be
certain
there
point,
too.
your normal life, right, is more. You know, technology around you is more powerful than anything we can come up with than rockets and explosives. Yeah, come on, guys.
Look, here's where they're going. I think if you can't beat this guy, this alien that comes in, right? It's like, okay, he kicks your ass. What you want to be is the first bootlicker that gives everybody else up. You're the good guy, right? You'll be the narc. Hey, you know how this works, you know.
Yeah, they give us the what was the fuck, man? I don't mean to keep referencing fucking shows and movies, but I think that was Futurama where they got arrested, where the aliens invaded, and he was all like, "We will never stand, you know, we will fight to the very last one." Right, and they're all like, "Give us President Davis," and he changes completely to being a complete and utter bootlicker in like one sentence. I can see Trump doing that.
Sure.
We'll fight the aliens.
He's like,
Just
"Oh,
give
sure,
us
guys,
Trump."
have whatever you want."
Yeah.
Don't mess my hair up. You can have anything you want. And we're like, hey, man, I thought, you know, what the fuck?
They told me
Give
I could
everything
be
away.
galactic dictator. It's gonna be great. The galactic
Yeah.
economy is doing awesome. Slave labor is up 110%. Gluckbarg says I'm a great guy, and I agree.
Yeah, because these aliens, they ain't gonna mess around. They're just gonna straight up whip you, man. They ain't gonna give a shit about you.
I imagine they'll like,
I mean,
like I said, just like, like turn on your air conditioning and blow off the Earth's atmosphere. Or just not, like I said, like that little general that's
No,
been,
man, you
that's
need-
been shrank down. Like, what did you do? I don't know. We kept driving. We saw that they shot all of their nuclear missiles at us, and it was just kind of like, tink. All right, keep moving. These ones are crazy. What
If
are they
we
doing
can't-
down
yeah,
there? Looks like
yeah.
they're murdering each other for pieces of paper and
Yeah.
shiny rocks.
So the plan is, if we can't make slaves out of them, we'll just have to kill them. I mean, that's all there is. What the fuck else are we going to do? As an alien coming in, what are we going to do with these people? You know?
I think they'll just keep driving. Like, why? There's so much, like I said, it's the entire universe. Like, it would be what would make it terrible if there was only like 3 or 4 kinds of like intelligent life in the universe, or even if there's only 2. Like you're the only other aliens, and fuck, those guys are total dicks.
They're crazy. There's no
like
fixing.
that would
crazy.
be disconcerting. Worse than it just being one, and that there's only one planet with life in it, and we are horrible to each other. Or even worse, there's only 2, and we're the assholes. They're out colonizing planets, loving each other, swimming and drinking water. And we're out here developing Space Force. The Chinese have got weapons in space.
Well, we're okay because the Israeli lander crashed, so we haven't, that whole thing about the J people being there isn't there.
They haven't. They haven't started killing They haven't started killing the Palestinian astronauts
No,
yet.
they weren't
Just
able
wait.
to land something, so they
Just
couldn't
wait.
stick their flag on it and make a plane. You got to land and get your flag on there.
Oh, that's
You
the
can't
key.
land and you crash. That
Israel
doesn't count.
did crash. The thing it was
Well,
like
right.
it was like 2 seconds away from landing, and the booster never went off.
Oh yeah. Whoops. But their new high-speed rocket, when the Russians came out with their new underwater ballistic missile, aqua missile. I don't know. I don't know how they hydro missile.
I don't know. The submarines have had the underwater missiles for a while.
Yeah, that's great.
Nah, this is a special underwater nuclear torpedo thing that they built a couple of weeks ago or a couple months ago that was everywhere, that they tested. But the Israelis also just tested a brand new ballistic missile, high-speed ballistic missile that's supposed to be able to get around a lot of air defenses. I didn't get really any coverage. I don't know. Every one that gets built is probably a bad deal. There's nothing that's going to be more useless or more expensive than that last fucking weapon built, for sure. F-35 style. It's the last one. This is going to be expensive. I doubt the F-35 will even ever fly, but it is going to cost us more than any other aircraft combined.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah. With $1 billion.
It's not meant to fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not meant to fly. It's meant to cost you money. Drones are way better, more effective. They are the technology that we will murder people with in the future, right? It's the conventional aircraft, even jets are over. That's done. I can fly faster, turn harder. I can do everything you can do in a normal jet better, right, with a drone. Anything. Right? So this is the last manned aircraft, which is why it's going to cost us everything that they can get out of it. Every last little cent, rather than just say we're not doing that anymore.
Well, and with a government like ours that doesn't hold anybody accountable for anything, they can just rip us off blind.
It's like, can I get
it's the only place where going over budget is like just fine. Like, oh, sorry guys, we went over budget, so you just pay you more. When any other contractor goes over budget, that's the contractor's problem, right? They start getting real stressed about that. Fuck, we're outside of budget. I don't want to have to pay my guys less. Right? I'm not going to be able to buy as much as I want. Shit, my company could go in business. That's what going over budget does, unless you're working for the U.S. government. And then going over budget, you have to. Nobody's ever went under. Not a government program then back and been like, all right, guys, we totally overestimated how much this was going to cost.
Yeah, that kind of went out of style in the 40s and 50s. As you got into the 60s, it's like, the MIC just took over, and it's just like, hey, the sky's the limit, boys. Whatever you want to charge, go ahead.
Yeah, that like what it used to mean to be conservative, right? So that was kind of the change in
Yeah.
conservatism, where they did look at things in a numbers like, okay, this is terrible and expensive. Are you sure we need that? Right? That was really, this was the generation straight out of the Depression, right? They realized we ain't spending extra money on anything. What if there's another depression? Right? I've given all these rich assholes in rubber barons all our money. We went through that already. They'll close the banks on us. I won't be able to get my money because you spend it on bullshit. But that whole version of conservatism has gone away.
It's gone,
right
man.
now it's a like control societal thing, and you conserve nothing. It's more just like Christian flavored giveaway juice. Like not actually Christian, right? Like make and train artificial Christian flavoring.
Yeah, it's very similar like the SJW. It's just virtue signaling that really doesn't mean anything. It's just something to say, makes everybody feel good, makes other people feel good about you, but it really, it still doesn't lead anywhere. It's just talk.
I was really like disappointed in that, even for even I believe it's fake, a lot of our leaders, belief in any deity, let alone God. But, it's really interesting the fact that Trump didn't even mention Easter. Didn't even mention it, right? He mentioned Passover.
Yeah.
And then he made like an angry speech that like said the words Easter, but not an actual statement to even to even your base that is Christian, to the Americans that are Christian, like that's just
he's
there's
a Jew.
Reasons why you would say it.
He's converted to Jews.
Yeah, I mean, even then, those two things aren't like mutually exclusive. Leaders say things to their people, even if you don't, even if you're not Jewish. Saying Passover, wishing people a happy Passover with their time is fine, their families is fine. Same with a lot of holidays. That doesn't take away from your belief in any way, shape, or form.
You see what Obama and Hillary did? They were calling them Easter worshipers. You can't even call them Christians anymore. But all of you, if you blow up the Muslims and shoot a bunch of them up, it's about the Muslim community and Islam and all that. But if you're a Christian, it's just like they're Easter worshipers. We don't know who they are. They were
some of that had to do with. Some of that did have to do with that the attack was in the Philippines. So once you get into Asia, Christianity, the same way like America has its version of Christianity, that's not Christianity in the rest of the world, right? Everywhere has their own, and even inside of that, there's nothing the same about being Baptist and being Catholic other than saying you're Christian. They're different religions.
Same God.
Yeah, I mean, completely different. They don't have the same values, the same rituals. They're completely different. What they believe in is different. Like when you go into South America, the saints and Mary become deities that aren't deities in American, in Western Christianity. When you get into Southeast Asia, my experience at least, in my experience with Buddhism, they celebrate a lot of Christian holidays. So when you do have things like Christmas, like Easter, although it is a Christian holiday, when you go to church, there are Christians and Hindus and Muslims and Buddhists there. Why that is, it's just a completely different culture. And we do put a little bit of our culture on top of it because we have got our brand of Christianity, which is, like I said, very different from every place has its brand. Southern Baptist is completely different than Catholic. Y'all aren't the same religion. They don't have a pope. They don't give a shit about the pope, right? That's just not the same religion. They don't do the saints. They don't do any of that crap. And you see, and when you get into the islands, and you get that like connection between the old African religions and Santerias and voodoo and hoodoo and all of those things, they incorporate Christianity. People will tell you they are a devout Catholic that also do voodoo rituals. How that works out? That works out that fine for them. Go to Haiti. They will tell you they are like, it's like 87% hoodoo or voodoo and 90%, 99% Catholic. It doesn't bother them at all. And when you get into Southeast Asia, you see that as well, where you'll go to a Christian church and it's like half Buddhist. They don't see an issue with that. Jesus is just one of, is the God that they felt, a connection to. But it doesn't always make sense from our perspective. Everybody's religion makes no sense to anybody but them, regionally. Like by what region you are in, all the way down to your little village, which saints you burn a candle to. Where in the Bible does it say to burn a candle to the saint?
Nowhere.
Yeah, nowhere.
that.
But Christians the world over burn candles and incense and do basically the same rituals that a Buddhist does. They're burning candles and rituals to their God so that their kids and don't die and their crops grow. That's kind of what humanity does. You can put whatever name you want on it. The Easter celebrations in the Philippines and in Southeast Asia are that way, where Muslims celebrate it, Buddhists celebrate it, and they're in a church. Why that is, fuck man, I don't know. Does it make sense? Nope. But it doesn't make any more sense than, quoting the Old Testament to somebody, quoting the New Testament to somebody. You either dig it or you don't. Now, why they were doing it was probably for nefarious reasons, because they're horrible people. But it was like when the Clintons called me Captain Kool-Aid. Was it racist? From most people, probably not. From the Clintons, yeah, probably. And they came back real quick when they did it right away. Oh, no, it's not because you were black. It was Jim Jones. And I was like, yeah, but you still thought that because I'm black, I'm too stupid to know who Jim Jones is. You can make the actual reference. I've been to school, thanks, you elitist son of a bitch. So now they took down the whole fucking page. Because they took down the post, and then I went through and seriously, you shouldn't have answered me to begin with. But then I reposted their fucking...
Oh, yeah, you were going by Captain Planet for a while. I remember that.
I still go by Captain Planet. So, yeah, they started calling me the Clinton campaign, because I'm always on there fucking giving them shit, started calling me Captain Kool-Aid.
You know who it probably was? It's probably Chelsea that's on behind the Twitter account. I'm not joking.
Yeah. She might have we have met several times. We did when we were teenagers.
How'd that go?
So I wonder. I was way cuter when I was a kid. She was a nice kid. She was like a normal kid. And it was the same time when there was a bunch of movies made about the president's kid, but she was like a cool person. There was the day that I quit working for the Clinton campaign. I'm sorry, guys. Fuck.
Oh,
I know
man.
people make horrible mistakes in their lives. I worked for the Clinton campaign.
I don't know
in the beginning. It gets worse. It gets worse. So I quit the Clinton campaign to run the Obama social media campaign. So that was a fuck up on my part 2 times over.
Okay, the question I have is, did you bang her? That's the question I have.
Nah. She wasn't giving me any of the. I think I probably would have if given the chance, but she wasn't giving out any of the vibes. And I'm like a respectful dude. I wouldn't if nobody's giving me the come hither eyes, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna pull a Joe Biden. I'm not gonna sneak up behind you and start feeling you up or anything.
You wouldn't be like Bill and just go grab a big handful of cooch, or like Trump, or just say what the hell.
Do it. Yeah, and I think Bill would have been happy to have a black man in his family. It's something he's always wanted.
He actually does have a black son.
Yeah, he's got a black kid.
Oh, yeah, I know he already does. Have you seen the pictures of that guy, though? Dude, Bill, you are seriously... Come on, that is your kid. It just looks like black Bill Clinton. I shit you not. It looks... the guy looks exactly like black Bill Clinton.
Everybody knows,
There's no denying that's his kid. That's
everybody
messed up.
knows.
They're
not hiding anything.
Up.
See, this is how pathetic the Clintons are. They get caught at everything they do. It's like you guys are so bad. You don't know how to hide anything. Yeah, it's just like you suck, man.
Even then, it's even not to dwell on it any more than we have to. But the election, man, if you are cheating at a poker game, you should at least win. Not only that is that takes a fuck up to an entirely new level.
Yeah, you rigged everything and you lost. I mean, you got
And you still lost.
That's just
If I'm
how
cheating at a
bad they
poker game,
suck.
I'm going to win the game.
Like, all right, we dealt you 4 aces. Oh, fold.
Yeah, you control the media. You've got all the money. You control the internet at that time, and we've given you as much like support through like censorship and advertising as we possibly can. I could win the election at that point. Like the big papers, the news media, the propaganda machine. You got every single superdelegate to get on your side. You got every corrupt politician on the planet to support you, and you still lost to Donald Trump. I would have thought that's impossible.
Oh,
And
man.
even the first one, in the middle of the Iraq War, you lost to a black man in America. They still shoot us in the streets. And you
Oh, that's
lost
right. Yeah,
to a black man named Barack Hussein Obama.
she's been denied twice, man. It's just, if you're, well, see, that's the problem with being a Jezebel. People don't like Jezebels.
Well,
It's like
and you're
It's
not.
like creepy Joe
And
Biden. It's like, people intrinsically have a problem with people that are creepy.
well, I mean, with her, it's that you're not. I think she probably would be a lot more successful being the heartless bastard that she is. She tries to. That's the thing. It's like she tries to smile at you and act like like she's a good person. Where that's not even the people that were voting for her. You know why they were voting for her. The record that they sport and all of it. Is not the touchy feely. I give a shit about anybody but myself. A crowd. Right? So it's weird that she tries to pull that and like reinvent it like you cared. No, just say you were Secretary of State. Be a warmonger. America
Yeah.
loves warmongers.
Don't
But
don't be
trying to
the
spin it
don't
like you're
don't be
not, we
the
don't believe you.
yeah, don't be the Clinton fund that takes all this money and then builds one house and spends all the rest on themselves and gets
Yeah,
caught
but
at it. Because
but if you're
then
going to
it's just the house of cards that goes nowhere. It's just nonsense.
if you're going to do that, at least fucking do it. Like like take some pride in your corruption. Like you didn't even do that.
They have to up
Yeah.
their game. I mean, they're such lazy criminals. They don't even care. They think they can throw it in your face, and that we're such stupid slaves with short memories that we're going to forget.
Oh
And we're
yeah,
just
like
not
you're
that
telling me
dumb.
you didn't eat any cookies from the cookie jar, and you still got crumbs. You still got crumbs on your face. I didn't eat your Cheetos. Your hands are orange. I don't work with the banks, and immediately leaks a video of her talking to Goldman Sachs bankers, telling them that she's two-faced. That was cool. Literally, and
well, it's
not,
like
and I'm not being figurative here. Literally came out and said, "Hey, I've got one face for the people and one face for the banking industry. So you are two-faced. That is the definition of being two-faced."
Yeah, and she's just too much, man. She didn't. It's
And like it was
incredible.
like it was a dinner with the banking industry, but even then it's like, but which one is your real face?
But what about that says?
Well, she can be either one. See, that's even the bankers. See, if it's convenient at the time to burn the bankers for some political move that you need to pull in the people, well, then she's going to be for the people. Fuck the bankers. See, I mean, even they aren't covered. I mean, when you're working with somebody like that, there are no rules. It's the den of thieves.
Well, and you're gonna make money, and how it'll work is even if I am hard on you for this moment, we're gonna crack down on banking regulations. Don't worry about it. When we put the new guy in, he'll roll it back, give everybody a nice juicy tax break. Just be cool. Be cool. Just like the Obama administration. Everybody gets one. As soon as you get president, right, give a couple $1 billion to the big banks. That's how it works.
Yeah, and that pressure. I mean, from the corrupt criminal politician point of view, that's their leverage. It's like, oh, look, boys, you're going to have to give me just a little more money or another stipend so that I can get this done for you. We've had this little problem, and it's all make believe. You just you gin up the base, or you play the little game over here, and to get what you want. But they really need to. Overall, they got to step up their game. It's like, look, if you're going to be the kind of criminals you people think that you are, and you're not, you got to step up your game, man. You gotta step it up. You gotta quit getting caught. You gotta quit acting stupid. You gotta quit giving away the means and the methods and all that shit. Tighten up the game, man, or else you
Or
can't
just
get there.
I mean, their biggest problem is they're the most disloyal motherfuckers on the planet. Like that's one of their problems is that
Oh
they
yeah,
they
yeah.
they undermine each other more than they undermine their enemies. Like, look, Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, like all of the bullcrap that they're playing, the Republicans will not be the downfall of the Democratic Party. The Democrats will be. And it's the same with the Republicans. Like the Democrats are not the downfall of the Republican Party. The Republicans are. Mitch
Oh yeah,
McConnell
definitely.
is running your case.
Oh,
No, this isn't going to work out. I
that's
can trust me.
that guy makes me want to throw up. But
He said he will become the angel of death. This is a quote, a direct quote. He will become the black angel of death for progressive politics. And you know what? I believe him. I just like I honestly,
that
when he
guy,
comes out and tells you he's the
he,
black angel of death, how can you guys tell me which other members of
it's
the
like
horsemen of the apocalypse are working for you?
I'm trying to figure out who this guy thinks he is. It's like, wait a minute, you're the doofus, the drunk village idiot who thinks he's somebody who's going to be the Mr. Tough guy. I mean, get serious, Mitch. Your deer in the headlight look is not fooling anybody. Okay, anybody that looks at you knows something's wrong.
Yeah, I think he's
It's a
trying. I don't know. I mean, he's trying to play politics in a game that's no longer playing any of those politics. He's not popular with Republicans. Like with the
no.
people that are voting Republican, like they don't like him.
No, they're all asking themselves, especially people in Kentucky. It's like, how the fuck does this guy keep getting elected? He's like John McCain in Arizona. 70% of the people hate him, including Republicans. And so, how does he keep getting 70% of the vote? How does that work? It's the same thing with
Gerrymandering.
him. It's it's like, wait a minute, everybody hates this clown over here, fucking McConnell.
How do you
How's
keep
this
on getting?
motherfucker keep getting elected?
He can't even go out and eat in Kentucky, right? Without, I mean, just random people coming up and be like, "Fuck you, Mitch!" Like,
And those are
if you
probably
can't, and I know
Republicans,
yeah, and those are
they're
like
tired
that's
of
the
him
deal.
too. It's like, get the fuck
If you
out of here, man.
if you can't eat, like, if you can't go out and eat a burger with your fucking constituents, you're not their leader.
Yeah, it's incredible, man. And then we're supposed to believe this crap. You see these numbers, the statistics are just so whacked out. You're like, hey, wait a minute. It's like, this is obvious voter fraud. Something's going on, man. You scumbags that everybody hates that keep getting elected. That this is not an accident anymore. All right, this is crime.
Yeah, it's more. I mean, and it's like, okay, you have trouble getting into pinpointing like which part of it. We know the machines can be played with and hacked. We know like those are the like unknown parts of it. The voter fraud through gerrymandering and redistricting and super delegates and
Oh,
all of the other games that they play that they've already been caught of being dirty. We have to ignore all of those because I don't know exactly how you fucked up the numbers in the machines, but I know that everybody I talk to hates your fucking guts, so I can't see who is voting for you.
yeah, it just makes no sense. I mean, it's just like,
Well, and yeah,
there's
anybody
pretty
in these
set rules. Like if you
polls,
have a
like
huge
who?
crowd, like if and you're bringing in 15, 20,000 people, and you got some other guy bringing in 1,000. Well, you know where the numbers are, okay? And then how is it that all of a sudden you can keep all that going, and then you get to the polls and it's like, you lost 60-30.
Yeah, I mean,
break,
whether
man.
you
That's not
like
how it
Bernie
works,
Sanders or not, there was numbers that did not work out right. There was.
Exactly.
Even
Yeah.
when you come to now, it's like you'll have these, Buttigieg has like what, 10, 100 people show up max at one of his things. He's doing his speeches in the backyard. They can't find venues big enough to fit all of fucking Bernie's people in it. I mean, Trump has a similar, there's been some big crowds at Trump's
Yeah.
shit as well. And they try to play the same thing. Like, why play games? Just show the picture of the fucking crowd. And you get these. We went in when it was Cory Booker's, and they tried everything to make Cory Booker look like he had a crowd with him, right? Like there was thousands of people there. And I mean, when we got the pictures of our guys like on the ground that are there, there was nobody there, nobody. But yet when they do the polls, they're at 40%. 40% of who?
Well, look at like today, Biden just comes out and they already got. I think it was Daily Mail over to UK is saying that is going to beat Trump, by 6 points already. It's like
Oh yeah.
you have to be, that's not even real, man. It's like I can't even
No,
believe they put shit
the
like that
bot.
out.
The bottom line is if they run a corporate Dem, we will lose this election. There's no doubt. Rather than run anyone that represents the people because they're going to lose out on the fossil fuel industry, on all sorts of bullshit games they've been playing, right? Because they're going to lose out on those, because they can't push the ACA, they're going to have to go to actual health care, right? Because they're going to lose that, they will lose the election over it. And we've seen that. I mean, we are 20 people into the election, and now you're coming out with Joe Biden. Joe Biden, you guys sat down with committees, spent millions and millions of dollars, think tanks and all of this shit, and you came up with Joe Biden.
Well, they're just shotgunning.
They are
I mean, they're like
someone way too much money. Like whoever to the elite, to the Democrats, whoever you are paying to come up with these people, you are paying them way too much money. Yeah, you guys are getting ripped off, or they're working for us. One of the two.
Yeah, that's it. They're
like if I
working
was
for
going to
the
undermine
Goldman.
the Democratic Party.
Yeah, if the Goldman Sachs bankers have to be satisfied that the Republicans and the Democrats that they have are on board with them, then they can run all day long, and they will get the support. But if you can't be one of those boys and work with the true masters, then you don't get a shot. So of course you're going to end up with their boys. I mean, a Hillary or a Joe Biden or somebody that's plugged in that's going to do what they're told at that level.
Even if I was like, I'm trying to put my mindset into like the corrupt. You're in your suit, you're sitting at the table, everybody's kicking out names. How do you keep from falling over laughing when they say Joe Biden? Or when the guy stands up and is like, you know who we should run? Hillary Clinton. Right? Like, how do you keep from falling over laughing at that point? Like who?
Well, no, man. See, these guys are perfect. They are the diversion for what's really going on. You're gonna be watching whether it's the Hillary clown show, the Trump clown show, or the Joe Biden clown show. They don't care. That's the sideshow they want you to watch. You got to get some compromised idiot in there that has issues that'll be under an investigation for 4 years, and then you can go steal all the money you want behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's like
the illusion.
One of the things that I think, people don't always look at when it comes to, the current political cycle is because it's became so much reality TV. People watch it like reality TV, and they use that to cover all sorts of goings on around the world. Look at how, they've tried everything to drown out the Assange story with 10 other stories. Right, that specifically have to do with journalists, with journalism. So you're talking about that and not about Assange, right? And they'll use, any political means. We go from, you have just arrested the most important journalist of our time to, did you hear what Trump tweeted about? Viral video, viral message, right? And he will say, they'll say the something small, doesn't matter, good or bad, whatever he says. The left's going to go fucking nuts and the right's going to go nuts. It doesn't matter what it is. And they will use that to cover up what's going on. Like, people have to see that. It's not that that's the goal of propaganda.
Yeah. The problem is
You're
they don't.
distracted.
You can't get anything done with when you have this high a percentage of people that will believe that shit over something that seriously needs to get done. They're glued into the clown show and all this partisan politics instead of actual issues.
Yeah, that's the goal of partisan politics.
Yeah, they got you. It's just like there's no way for a dedicated 5 or 10% of people, no matter which side they're on, to get anything done, because you're just butting heads with the other 90% that are fools.
Well, I remember it was Nancy Pelosi. Was it Pelosi or Elizabeth Warren the other day that had said? It's pretty much like, the interview had asked her, I think it was Pelosi, there's what are you going to do about the move towards progressivism in the Democratic Party? And she goes, well, there's only about 4 or 5 of them, right? And you saw her immediately realize what she just said, right? And the interviewer came back, I mean, almost immediately with, well, no, there's a lot more progressives. In fact, you're slowly getting pushed out because of it. Like the corporate Dem game is not popular. And she immediately came back with, oh well, I'm progressive. I'm progressive. Like you just told your dad that he's not cool. No, I'm cool. I'm cool. That was exactly the reaction because she saw what she just said and what the ramifications of that. There is a very us versus them, even inside of the Democratic Party. There's the Justice Dems and the progressives and the corporate Dems, the Joe Bidens, the Elizabeth Warrens, the Kamala Harrises, the people that play the game, and it's starting. That's a clear divide.
It's like the high school kid that gets caught smoking in the bathroom. That wasn't my cigarette.
That wasn't. I know what you're talking about.
No, I've seen that it was there. I was actually just coming to tell you that this kid was smoking a cigarette.
Oh yeah, the NSA spying. The NSA spying was a good example of that. Oh, I was just about to tell you guys about this.
What?
I am so glad that you caught us. This is possibly illegal. Yeah, I definitely. We were I was working hard to tell you about it. Even. Yeah. So all right, what do we got? What do we got left on the list? And probably get into the chat a little bit too.
I've been hearing people on some of the bigger news channels talking shit about Assange and how.
Did we lose our other host?
How
he is actually
a terrorist.
Yeah.
And that he should be brought
his face is there. Mark's gone. Micro's gone.
Yeah, this was there's so much going on in our kind of world right now. You don't always know where to start with the news. It's all important, in every issue that we talk about, you could go down and, pick through.
Well, they're just painting him as a crazy person.
Info. Oh, you mean, oh yeah. So we've got a couple of people that have posted in here on mine as well that are talking about just how they've tried to paint Julian Assange as a terrorist, is not really
that's Facebook feed.
Oh yeah, okay. As not, is not being a journalist, as being, is just complete
being a spy or just some plain Jane hacker,
No, there's you can see the spin campaign.
Yeah, I mean, if they can get him on that flimsy, he helped, crack a password or some shit, and so that changes everything. Yeah, I mean, that's
your obligation as a journalist to call that.
Well, yeah, and I really, when you look at the things that if the thing was you had to crack a password to keep thousands and thousands of innocent people to be killed from a fake war, an illegal war that you've set up, that's not only the right but honorable thing to do. You almost didn't have a moral choice in that. If you could right now, if you could pop a password that would have stopped the Iraq war altogether, possibly even, we could argue all day the Afghan war as well, right? The Syrian war, right? If you could break a password right now and stop that war from happening, you're obligated to do it. As an American, as a human being, you're obligated to do it.
That's true, because I mean the whole thing's fake. That's what you remember. That it's all based on nonsense and lies. So it's a illegitimate, unethical, immoral war.
Well, and I mean that goes into tyranny. When you go into look, our government has been taken up by corrupt forces. It is your duty as an American to call that out, to expose it at every corner. So yeah, I think that there's some things. So there's some arguments to be made, and what they're even accusing him of was not only needed but unavoidable. As an actual person, I wouldn't be able to do anything else either. If I could get the password that would stop hundreds of thousands of people from being killed, what else could you do?
Because then that's an argument. It's like, okay, well, let's say he did that, and all right, he wasn't 100% in the right. it really shouldn't matter because all these documents, anything we find out or shut down is illegal in itself, far more illegal than what he's done. So, I mean, even if you just look at it that way, it's still worth doing. It's still the correct thing to do.
Yeah,
You
I mean, that's
cannot
why
use
we have.
classifications. You can't use all this government nonsense and, what do you call it? National security to cover up felony crimes. You can't do that.
Well, with one of them that they're using with the national security, oh well, they couldn't. We had to pull out some of our instigators and infiltrators from Afghanistan. Well, why did you have instigators and infiltrators in the first place? Right? So you're causing terrorist actions, and I'm supposed to be upset that you have to stop now? Like I don't understand the logic behind that. In that, well, it put those people at risk. They were killing innocent people. They're murderers. They should be charged. Your job was to infiltrate a group that had nothing to do with it and provide them with tools to make terrorists. I don't understand the logic behind that. I had to pull back our clandestine operations. Well, good. It's an illegal war. You're doing illegal shit.
Yeah, and somehow you're a bad guy for trying to stop that. Even if you do the wrong, it's like if it's somehow it's okay to do the wrong thing for all the wrong reasons, but you can't do a wrong for
any of the
reason.
right reasons.
Yeah, and that's screwed up. It's like, wait a minute, if it's a wrong and a wrong with two different outcomes, one better than, well, then it's obvious where you should be going. It's like, give the guy a pardon or immunity or something, but like, hey, thanks. You stop this nonsense and we go on about our business.
Yeah,
the real business of the world, not all this bullshit about how you rich fucks need to make money with the military industrial complex and all your illegal activities.
At a certain point, it's all like, look, I'm sorry, we're just not doing that anymore. You're going to have to make your money another way. Like the whole killing people for profit thing, we're totally over it.
Yeah, we understand. Yeah, you guys make a lot of money at that, but you just can't do it anymore.
Well, and even then, it's not like, okay, you've made a lot of money. Like,
holy cow, yeah.
Yeah, at a certain point, it's not like I'm supposed to feel bad. Well, you can't, you've made so much money off of it. Your grandchildren's grandchildren will still be spending your money. That's fine. It's not fine, but it is, you know what I mean? It is
it's not.
I'm not.
No, all that money needs to be taken from you, taken back, because it's not yours. You stole it under false pretenses. You're just another criminal.
I agree, but I don't think we're going to be able to move on that right away. If we start out with that, they're not gonna. That has to be like.
Well, we got to get serious about it. Hey, we can get serious about all this criminal activity. Why can't we get serious about actually doing what we're supposed to? How about that?
You don't even have to rename it. Just call it the war on crime. I'm cool. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we're talking
it's
murderers,
a different
drug
focus.
dealers, like all of it. It's definitely how we look at it, and there's this like complacency that does, permeate through us. Look, the George Bush, Dick Cheney, these people are war criminals. They should be treated as such. You don't get to say, well, Halliburton made. I don't care how much profit Halliburton made. That's our profit. Right? You don't even split it between the Iraqis and the soldiers that you sent there that will never be the same after killing innocent people. Right? Yeah. But yeah, they're not going to, I mean, that's justice, and they're not really into that.
Yeah, that's not the type of people that are in this world, and that's not the society you live in. You live in a world full of people who are schmucks, honestly. They're not going to stand up and do the right thing about anything. They're much more willing to turn their head, act like it's not going on, so that they don't have to do anything. It's just a whole lot easier.
Yeah, and you'll forget, like, you'll look whether when Joe Biden comes out and says something like he stands with the people, right? As a veteran, I'm supposed to forget all of the brothers and sisters that you sent off to their deaths for profit. Right, when you signed off for the Iraq War, knowing that it was completely illegal, wrong, under false pretenses, and you did it anyway, You send their death warrant. That's what you signed. That in like at the same time they'll come out and act like they care about the soldiers. Right? You'll hand out a flag or give some stupid ass speech. But when you had the chance, you sent my brothers and sisters to die. And you didn't care about them at all. Give us a big fake ass toothy smile, right, to make up for it. And we're supposed to buy that crap. And that's all of them.
Yeah, it would be
Obama
one
talking
thing.
about peace is hilarious.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if it was a different guy with a different name and a different face telling you that. It's like, well, that's a new guy. Maybe he's telling the truth. But when you hear it from a Joe Biden who's been lying to you for over 30 years, who you know is a scumbag, and you're going to sit there and listen like, oh, yeah, hey, Joe's running. You're going to get all excited because Joe Biden's running?
Honestly,
you're
I don't
whacked
think
out,
anybody
man.
is excited other than the corporate media that Joe Biden is running. I haven't, even the people that are like on Twitter that are posting about Joe Biden, right, are not posting like positive shit. The ones, even the ones that are like in support of the Democratic Party and are like, oh, I never really liked Joe Biden before. That's the like start of your intro to the people that are being paid to like you. And you saw, oh my God, all the resist guys, all the resistance guys, all the like superhero names. Fuck, they are such corporate dumb fucking puppets. It drives me crazy. Because like 90% of the stuff that they post is like, stuff you would like to be able to use and you'd like to stand with them, and then boom, right? They immediately they're on board with whatever corporate dem and policy they push. It's sickening. Like you can't be part of the establishment and part of the resistance at the same time. Those two things are incompatible. So when you have somebody come out and say, I'm part of the resistance, and then the next day post that they support Joe Biden, you're a puppet. You're propaganda. You're being used by the corporate elite. We can put whatever words we want on top of it, but it's obvious what you're doing. And that's sad. It's sad. And those are the people that have got millions of followers. A lot of them.
Oh, they get they get all the big money funding just somehow,
Well, our girl, Alyssa Milano, right? She posted one earlier, another that was a Joe Biden post. Like they're like, come on. And I think she's one of those people that legitimately got sucked into it. She's just recently in politics and the game and all of that stuff. Yeah. Joe Biden gave her a big smile and, shook her hand and did what politicians do. And yeah, you're up there fucking shucking and jiving for it 10 minutes later. I met him. He seemed like a good guy. No, he's not. He smiled. He shook your hand. But that's what politicians do. Told you something about equality and unity, right?
Yeah. You should be savvy enough as a person, even if you're a Hollywood person, to say, okay, you've got the money. You're in this. You're detached. You're at a party, big party, but you should still realize what the guy is. You can go up and shake his hand and, hey, Joe. But you should know inside that this guy's one shady bastard. You can't really fall for it. That's what I'm getting at. You could play the game, but you can't fall for it. But these people fall for it. That's what gets me. It's like, yeah, he was a nice guy, man. He convinced me. It's like, oh, man, you're just looking at him like, oh, fuck.
But you didn't immediately go home that's what bothers me about it. Look, don't take my word, opinion, or thoughts on any candidate whatsoever. Go and look up their voting record. That's who they are.
We're still on. Their server went down, and we're still on the internet.
No, my restreaming server.
Oh no.
Oh,
that's fine.
That is a problem.
Nah, and honestly, man, your migraine, I can't imagine having to sit through a talk show with a migraine.
Yeah, it's just sitting here.
It's rough.
Listening to us, oh my God.
Yeah, that's even worse. But no, there is, I don't know, there is I don't know if it's cult of personality. I don't know if it's just a personality that you and I obviously share. A trait that when a politician is smiling at me, I immediately are like, I'm going to go check into this. No, he seemed like a good guy, which is why I'm going to go check into it.
Well, no, there's one thing. It's like when you were younger, you did, you explained those things you did, but you wised up, right? hey, same with me. It's like, hey, I was, believed in Reagan. When I was 18, 20 years old, I believed in all these guys. And then I started watching this. It's like, wait a minute. You guys all talk the same shit. You all lie. You say one thing before, you do something else later when you're elected. I don't believe it anymore. After about 10, 15 years of that, you get in your 30s, probably, and you realize we're getting duped. If you're smart. Now say, we must be smart because we popped out of it. But I look at all these other people, man. I mean, they're 50, 60 years old, and they're waving flags and banners. It's just like, you guys really believe this shit? I mean,
yeah, like you should not be buying this crap, man. You've seen it over and over again.
Wow, it's like, hey, Trump said this and Trump said that. Hey, did you ever think that maybe Trump's lying? Oh, well, fuck you, fuck you. You're like,
okay. It's not that I'm, you can be like, okay, man, like, all right, I'm not saying Trump's lying. Can you name a president that didn't lie to you? You know what I mean? Like, more chances than not.
Don't you people, especially if you're older, it's like, how many presidential elections, how many politicians and elections have you seen? Do you see a pattern? Is there a pattern that goes over and over again for damn near 100% of these motherfuckers where they tell you one thing and they do something else? And then somehow you pop out 2 years, 4 years later, like, oh, you're out there waving your flags and banners again. Like
you forgot.
Did you forget he's a liar? Yeah.
No, there was a couple. There's probably some steps on the way for sure. I had I was at a meeting that had some of the Clinton representatives on it that went I had to keep walking. That was it. All right, I'm out of here. And then when it came to the Obama campaign, it was the banking bailout was like a big red flag for me. That was where I started walking in the started backing out of the room slowly. And then the NSA spying program, because I was pretty on board, relatively, but it wasn't just the spying program alone. I know the government spies on you. It was that he came out and immediately lied to us first. There's nothing like that. That's crazy. Blah, 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 blah. The normal. And then, less than 3-4 days later is exposed as being completely and utterly real. And then the cover up to follow, I had that kind of, wait a minute, I've seen this before. You're no different than the rest of them. That was that kind of wake up call for me. But yeah, it's not, I would love, when Trump was first elected, right? It wasn't that I supported him in any type of way. I hoped that he was, right, stood for any of the things that he said he did. We're going to bring that money back, stop bring that money back from from overseas, right, from the tax havens, and there was a long list of things that I don't agree with what you're doing with the banking industry, deregulation, fossil fuels, but shit, the Democrats are on that side of that too. So that doesn't, that wasn't the thing. I had hoped that he really would do some of the shit that he had talked about in his campaign. He's not doing any of that. Jumped on the same Nazi. Yeah, it just jumped on the same Nazi bandwagon that all the other ones do. Like, you can call, and I'm not, you can call, I use the word Nazi, fucking tyrannical, whatever you want. You can say however you want it. Look, Obama imprisoned millions of his own people. What do you want from that? You could have legalized marijuana. You could have done a lot of shit. You didn't.
Yeah.
And that was like, I see that same thing. Trump was the same kind of cult of personality. There was lots of, I'm going to do this, and, you're going to get back some of those freedoms, and nope. So, I would, shake up this, even the shake up the system, get some of the corruption out. Remember, we were going to drain the swamp. It's definitely not drained.
It's filling up quicker than ever, man.
Yeah, it's
spilling over.
It's all swamp now. It is all swamp now. We are down to Nancy Pelosi, fucking Chuck Schumer, and Donald Trump. It is all swamp.
Mitch McConnell, look at the establishment trash that's there and how long they've been there, too. It's incredible. How do you get around these people? They control everything. You can't get anything out of committee with these motherfuckers in there.
Oh, Camilla Harris's answer.
Forget it. You know?
Whether you agreed or disagreed with reparations, her answer to reparations was as politician lying sack of crap as you could get. So she's asked, and all of the Democrats have came out with their different sides on reparations. I got my own opinions on it, but she comes out and they ask her, hey, what do you feel about reparations? And she pretty much says, well, it needs some thought and we'll put it to committee. So that's a big old no. Like, we'll put it to committee is the biggest cop out of all time. We'll put it to committee means you ain't doing jack shit. One way or the other. The put it to committee means this is not my problem.
Yeah,
I need to get elected.
Putting it to committee is like putting it to bed. That's what they're really saying. Yeah.
Yeah, so whether you're pro or against, nothing is going to happen. It's going to be in committee forever.
Because anything they want never really goes to committee. That's in a quick boom, boom, everybody signs it. There's not even a meeting. We don't have to waste our time for that.
Yeah, they'll sign it in a quick weekend. Everybody shows up 1:00 in the morning, closed doors, sign it and move on.
Yep. So yeah, committee, that's
Yeah, but then when it's things that the people want, we're gonna have to, it's getting to the end of this term. We have a recess, a quick break. And then sometime next year, 2020, we'll probably have the time to look back into it. 2020 is the...
Well, after the investigation, you have to have about a year investigation at least, no matter what it is, before the committee. And then you might vote. It's like, okay, yeah, whatever, guys. It's like, keep calling your representative. Make sure you're stuffing his voicemail full of your comments. Oh yeah, like I'm sure they listen to every one of them.
Every single one of them.
Yeah, or give me a break, man. Make sure you call your representative. It's like, oh really? Is that going to make a difference? Should I do that?
Yeah, they're going to start answering their calls. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and there is. I think that you're better off to take over their Twitter accounts and Instagram accounts than you are calling their offices, because they have control over what's seen. And when you have pushes to war, and yeah, you can be 1,000 veterans calling your congressman or calling whoever, but when you get on their Twitter page and their social media account, they can't hide it. How come you've got 1,000 veterans that have told you their story of this nightmare? You know what I mean? Like, that affects them way more than calling their office does. They've got separate voicemails. Do you think that they really call each other on the
on the main line?
On the main government line? Yeah, sure. Now, if you get a hold of his cell phone number, yeah, send it our way. We'll give him a call. But as far as the government line, government email, yeah, I mean, they don't answer those. They don't care.
Oh, look, I mean, think of how many people. How many of these huge marches and everything, out of all those, how much do you get out of it? Think of all the millions of people that have marched for all the different things. What does it really add up to in the end?
Well,
except for a few issues.
Yeah,
you really don't get much.
It works for issues, but definitely not like. It works sometimes for issues, but for political parties, because we have the corrupt party that we have, you'll get huge amounts of support, and then exactly like you saw during the 2016 election, just huge amounts of support for the Democratic Party, marches and just huge amounts, and then you pushed Hillary Clinton and you lost all that support. Nobody came and voted. Right? That was just, they did that to themselves. So they'll build these huge amounts of support and then they lose it in the political game.
Because it becomes more of an authoritarian trip. Well, it's just like Bernie. It's like, okay, if you're going to steal the election from Bernie, if you're going to keep those guys in your base voting for you, you had to bring him on the ticket somehow. That was the only solution that made sense if you're going to fuck him out of being the top guy.
Yeah,
but
and
they can't even do that. That wasn't even on the table, and you're just like, you people don't even know how to play politics. Don't you see it? Never seeing that, hey, if you disenfranchise all that percentage, how the fuck are you going to win?
Oh, yeah, they don't understand.
They don't care. They just don't care.
Well, and I mean, I know why they didn't put Bernie in. You guys know I'm a Bernie supporter, but like, I think that one of the reasons they didn't put Bernie in is the reasons that they don't like, AOC, Omar, like they don't like the same Justice Democrats, because the first time that he went in, and look, everybody else plays ball. The first time that he went in, it was all Goldman Sachs bankers and lobbyists. He might say something, and that's no good.
That's what AOC did.
Yeah, but I mean, that was kind of the example that I was using. But I do think that they fear that in any of those offices, Bernie would expose things that they don't want exposed.
He's not really known for that. I mean, he goes along with the wars and just about everything. I mean, Bernie's pretty. He's actually, not mainstream. He's even like what you'd call almost right of center sometimes. I mean, he doesn't seem to have any problem with the wars.
Yeah,
I can't figure him out.
He votes against them in some, he votes against them, the Iraq
in
war
principle.
Specifically, but then he votes to fund them afterward, which is where the real power is.
Right. That's
and
so.
That that does like that. There's lots of it. We've gone so far. There isn't a right or a left. So like we're stuck calling them things that there aren't reality. There's corporate America. That's it. Right? There isn't a left and right party. There's only the corporation. There's only the corporate elite. That is the only government that we have. So we try to paint Bernie as the best thing that an absolutely corrupt system can offer. Is he better than the absolute worst thing? Oh yeah, like 1,000,000 times better. But the system is so corrupt. He is the best thing that an absolutely corrupt system could produce. Right? Is he actually progressive? Well, not for what the word progressive means, right? Not for like what an actual revolutionary means. But do we use those words to describe the best that corrupt system has to offer? Yeah, and that's coming from a Bernie supporter, right? Is that the best chance we have to move to actual freedom? Yeah. But does he, would he be what I would consider, a revolutionary? No, not even close.
I'm just curious.
I'm not going to vote for your war. I'm not going to vote for the funding of it. I ain't voting for none of that shit.
He didn't have to. I mean, those votes were so heavily lopsided. He could have voted his conscience, and it wouldn't have hurt him. And it wouldn't have hurt the vote, too. He could have actually voted against it, and it wouldn't have changed anything other than him looking like he actually stands for something. But he didn't even do that.
And if he didn't, if that wasn't the case, then, you know what I mean? Yeah, that I think that in the long run, that it would have done better for him to be able to come out and say, I've never voted for a war, right? I don't fund them. I don't like nothing, never. You show me a war, right, that is justified, and I'll vote for it. Until I see that, go fuck yourself.
I don't think a justified war hasn't happened in a good 60 years, 70 years.
I would argue, because we always go back to the World War II thing, and, I've always been, the men that gave their lives for the war, right? They did it for the right reasons. They did it to defend, freedom, to fight tyranny, they fought for good. The truth of the matter is, as sad as it may be, most of those men did not need to die. Right? You could have stopped defunding the Nazis right away. You could have stopped sending them rocket fuel. You could have stopped producing tanks. We could have stopped the Nazis in 1,000,000 different ways. Right? We chose to send wave after wave of innocent men to die by machine gun fire that we were selling the Nazis bullets to shoot. You dig? So, right, the wars, maybe our intervention in the Balkans, but again,
they're all staged. They've pretty much all been staged for other reasons down the line. It was just another platform and another launching pad for what you really wanted to do on the next step and the next step. They've all been set up. Pretty much everything. Definitely from not so much Civil War, but if you look at like the Mexican American War, starting about then, 1898 till now, they've all been setups. Bankers behind the scenes, loans, or the rich European families still fighting each other. I mean, there was all that same activity going on.
Yeah, same. I mean, splitting up the Middle East for profit. Was also one of the goals. World War One and World War Two. There's
Yep.
all like a justified war is so hard when you have to think of who's at play here. You're telling me that when peace is your goal, then peace is always your goal. There isn't a problem you can't undermine. We're when it comes to money wise, we're the most powerful, most technologically advanced country that there is. Militarily, like, we are the most powerful military on the planet, right? We've got black budgets that aren't really budgets. There is no limit to the amount of money that you could spend, right? But we'll play the war game rather than ever fixing a problem. Look, you want to undermine Kim Jong-un, right? Send them USBs filled with information, with movies, with daytime TV, right? With anything, documentaries, right? Get information to them, and you'll undermine an authoritarian government in a heartbeat. But that's not your goal, is it? You want to sell bombs and guns. There's an unending ways to end wars if you wanted to, right? To go to peace if you wanted to. They don't want to. And you look at some of these, if you're at war for 50 years, you don't want peace.
That's right, and it makes
real.
no sense. That doesn't do anybody any good, especially the people who are at war for that length of time, because it's just sapping your culture and your economy. For everything it's worth. War is something you do quickly, get it over with, and you move on. You don't sit there and go to war for 30 years because rich bastards want to make more money.
Which is our only reasons for going to war.
That's it. All the rest of this is nonsense. There is no. It's like the oil's not getting cut off. Nobody's cutting off your oil or refusing to sell you minerals or none of this shit. It's all about control to you people. You're a bunch of control freaks. Because nobody's threatening you. Okay, there's always a threat of something, but there is no actual threat going on.
Even then, you can never ask the question. They're all like, well, that Saudi Arabia could shut off the oil, or, this country, they could shut off the oil. What, did we run out of oil in Texas all of a sudden? The U.S. doesn't have any oil?
Are they threatening? Are they threatening to shut off the oil? Well, no, but they could. Okay, well, they're not. So get over it. At that point,
but in any other situation, if somebody threatened you, right, you're going to continue to work with them? Well, they're threatening to send out, okay, well, fuck off. Again, did Texas run out of oil and I missed it?
No, it's just there is. It's not even. Here's the thing. For all these war college geniuses, you're spending more money than there is oil in the ground. That's all you've done so far in the Middle East, whether Iraq or pick any of these countries. You've spent more money out of the economy than there is oil in the ground. So what exactly is it that you're doing?
Well, we're moving our money from the public sector to Dick Cheney,
to corporate banking, black ops folks. That it's like this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make economic sense even. Well, so why are you doing it? What possible reason is there for you to do it?
Because they're told to. That's the bottom line. Like, you've got no spine. Somebody told you to, so you're going to do it.
Oh, okay. Well, you're the kind of schmuck they need, man. This is the kind of yes men that we're looking for.
Yeah, that's like the pretty sure that might be in their mission statement.
We need some stand-up guys,
Yeah, how good are you saying yes, sir? I guess pretty good. Well, you're hired.
Yeah. So yes men and stand-up guys, that's not the same thing,
Yeah, when you go into, we're talking about the war. Look, Eric Prince is not in prison and Julian Assange is. Come on, guys.
See, the problem they have, here's where government's going wrong, and they don't even see it happening. You have to actually have a government that does believable things. If you're doing things that are no longer believable, you're not going to have any credibility. And yet they just keep doing it and acting as if they're credible, and everybody's kind of looking cross-eyed at them like, what the fuck are you guys doing? We don't even believe your shit anymore. Oh, well, I'm presidential. I'm going to put on a suit and, give this speech. And everybody's like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever, same old speech, same old bullshit. You know, it's just they don't realize it's like, you know, I don't know what it
No,
is. You know,
not only do
three
they
quarter
not
of the people
realize it.
they don't believe you anymore. You're not understanding it. They don't believe you anymore.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's like the thing that there seems to be this weird disconnect because they do go through the motions, right?
Oh
They
yeah,
go through
yeah.
all of the parts like they actually have support, and at no point, if you're sitting in look, if you get anywhere that you're going that's got 10 people in it, ask them, what do you feel about Joe Biden, right? And not a single one of them will tell you anything positive. But yet they'll go through the motions like you've got support and you've got followers and people that want you to run and all of this that doesn't exist outside of that fictional,
Bubble that you get. Yeah,
bubble that they live in. Because it
yeah.
has to be like I can't, fictional doesn't even, fairy tale almost is what they expect. I put on a shiny suit, I've got my fake dentures in, I've got the perfect white smile, I look like a politician. Where they're not leaders, they're not political leaders, but they look like the movie version of what a politician should look like.
Yeah, they're too much, involved in their trappings. They think, oh, because if I have a sharp suit on and I look sharp, I'm a credible politician. It's like, no, you're a two-faced dick. All we have to do is listen to what you say. You have a nice suit. Don't get me wrong. Good shoes, nice suit. You look okay, but it's who you are. And they just
Yeah,
don't see it.
that's
They're such criminals, and they're so detached. And then you look at this
well. I
government,
mean,
things that they do. You're just like, and you
for our
guys take yourself
listeners,
seriously? Like really?
for the listeners, for the people that to our listeners, to the people that are awake and discussing and debating in all of that stuff. Yeah, it's more than obvious. But the reason they do it, as sad as it sounds, is it works. And you do look at the celebrities that and like I said, just because I've been in that circle with Alyssa Milano, I really do feel like she was duped by all of that, and that you do have these people that they come up and they buy it. They buy the smile, they buy the thing that makes politicians have gotten that far. Bill Clinton had it too. You knew Bill Clinton was lying to you, right? But he had the smile and
Oh
the
yeah.
suit and the look and the personality. He could get Obama as well. They had that to a good extent. Bush had that, where he could get on in his personality and charisma. Right? People would buy it. There wasn't. Even though you knew wars are a racket, when they were talking about the Iraq War, you bought it. Even though all the wars up to this were completely bullshit, but he came out.
Weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah, whoa, weapon terrorism.
That sounds scary.
Yeah, I've never. Right, so with all of that, it's so believable when Joe Biden, when those people, when they shake your hand and give you the story, the show and dance. The reason they do it is because it works. It's a magician, right? When a magician's up there, he has no magic. It's all a trick. But he smiles and goes through the motion, and everybody.
No, because they're trained actors. I mean, they're put forward by these parties because they are the best trained actors, or they are the best for the job to make it like believable. I mean, it's obvious. Like a guy like Obama, yeah, he's put forward by the Democrat Party because he's like the best actor to give the message. Like,
yeah, he had great political capital for, I don't know, maybe 3 years until it started to wane. But by the end, it's like, I mean, there was nothing left. He had really squeezed what a good feeling that there was about Obama was pretty much gone by the end. It's just like, okay, we're ready for the next. And then
I think
the hope, of the next guy, and everybody gets behind Trump and feels good. And it's just more nonsense. Here you are 2 years into it, and it's just like, I'm sick of him already too.
Yeah, it's the same thing, because even the benefit that he had, right? He would he'd shake up the party, stick it to the fucking Dems for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't.
Yeah, so you're over here talking about MAGA making America great again, but what you're really doing is you're going over to Israel, making Israel great again. You give them more land. It's okay if they have a border and defend it. Oh, but our border, fuck that. You can disarm our troops on our side of the border. It's like, fuck. Well, hey, next time that's not going to happen. It's like, you see, you're not even serious. You can get serious about somebody over there doing what they're doing, stealing land. But protect your own border, it's like a big joke. It's like, rules of engagement. Well, you're the fucking commander in chief. Why don't you do something about it?
Yeah, or I mean, even
know?
like we run out of. It's the same. My issue with any of that is the constant need for the prison industrial complexes involvement. So look, if you, no matter what problem that the U.S. government has, it only has one fix for it, right? So making concentration camps of one like over another is not the answer to any of our problems, but yet that's the only answer that they ever have. Um, and it has to do with a lack of inspiration in our leadership. It doesn't matter if it's the drug problem, the immigration problem, the inequalities in poor neighborhoods and black and brown neighborhoods, the meth problem. It doesn't matter what it is, right? Opioids, their answer to everything is putting people in prison. That's it. They're like a one-trick pony.
Yeah, but like I look at it like as an outsider, right? I don't know much about U.S. politics, and that's why I hear you guys talking, and I don't really know all of these different people, but I do know like if you talk about Trump and you look at the Assange situation, for example, and you know that Assange released all that stuff about the Republican Party in Iraq, like with George Bush and stuff, and then now years later, then Trump gets into power and he says he will drain the swamp and all of that stuff. But then, almost at the end of his first term, he still asks for extradition of Assange. And I can just, even though I know that it's been told to me before that people tell me like Trump is no friend of the Bush family and all that stuff. But still, I feel that he is doing the dirty work for the Bush family to actually get Assange to the U.S. right now.
Well, and because it doesn't just affect the Bushes. So, I mean, they're involved, but they're not, what I mean? It's like any other mafia or, organized crime syndicate. So there's lots of people involved. Trump doesn't, may or may not like the Bushes. He may or may not like the guy from Utah. Romney, right? That old money never likes new money.
Oh, God.
He's another one that, but that doesn't mean that you guys don't go to the same country clubs. You'll make money together. That's the business world. You don't have to like the person, right, to make money with them. And I think that's something, if I don't like you, I'll tell you to fuck off, right? I don't want to do anything with you. But
Trump's problem is he loved Assange a couple of years ago when he was running.
Yeah, when they leaked the information about the Clintons.
Yeah, now he claims he doesn't know anything about Assange.
Yeah,
so it's not a credible answer. I mean,
what did he say? What was his thing? He was like, what was it originally on WikiLeaks? I think WikiLeaks is great, right? I would like to say more from WikiLeaks, right? Yeah. And now
I love WikiLeaks.
Yeah, he said he loved WikiLeaks.
He loved WikiLeaks. Yes,
I love what they're doing. Much more WikiLeaks. It'll be great. The Clinton criminals. Yeah, but then now he pulled the I don't remember WikiLeaks who?
Oh yeah, he said it's not my thing, WikiLeaks.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. It reminds you of that same kind of like mafia fucking answer to stuff. Who? Yeah, I don't know that guy.
It is. It's there's just no way to
Carmichael. Yeah, I never heard of him.
you can't love a guy and then claim you don't know him. It's just like, well, wait a minute, you're just another two-faced dick.
But some of that is legitimately how Trump fucking talks. He goes from love to hate in the same sentence.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure if he wakes up with a straight thought.
Oh, he doesn't. He wakes up and tweets the first thing that comes to his mind in the morning.
He's like, you know what? I fucking hate this guy.
No.
Yeah. Oh, he says, who knows what craziness he will wake up in the morning and say. But honestly, I think he's fucking constipated. Like, he wakes up, goes to get number 2, and I mean, you can tell when he's pushing one out because it is some angry stuff. And then afterward, he goes with all of the people that he likes, some book that he thinks you should read.
He doesn't read, though.
No, but he's constantly putting books that he says are a great read. It's weird.
He's being a twit on Twitter. That's what he's being. It's beneath the
office. I guess he met with Jack Dorsey, and Jack was like, you should probably read the shit you retweet.
Oh, or just who you're retweeting it from, I think is the
They were just giving him basic Twitter etiquette. What does this pound symbol mean?
All right, why? Like I post on there all the time, and it's like I'll take apart whatever he's saying, but on top of it, all caps means screaming. Now read what you just wrote with the correct inflection, right? These are the rantings of a crazy person. If you don't mean to scream, right? Don't put it in all caps because that's what everybody hears when they're reading it. And if you're screaming if you're screaming only trigger words, it comes off bad. Never, as a white politician, should you ever scream the word blacks at the top of your lungs. No matter how you mean it to sound, it never comes off right. Well, I didn't mean it that way. Yeah, but I just didn't really like the way you were screaming blacks. I've always been loved by the blacks. That's what it sounds. Don't do that.
Well, hey, he's got all them pictures with Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. All them years. No, now come on. You know what happened. He's one of them too. You know, he can be whatever you want him to be.
Did we not get rid of them in the trade? Was there not a?
Oh, the race trade.
Yeah, was there not a?
It was with
the draft.
The racial draft. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was Dave Chappelle.
I think they've finally gotten to the age where maybe they're over the hill. I think that's what they finally gotten too old. They just can't even get into the game anymore. Their time's up. You know? But there's people coming in.
So I trade you Tiger Woods for a Netanyahu.
Well, and he's on top. He's on top. Whoa. Like whoa.
You don't remember that?
Yeah, but Tiger Woods is on top again. Y'all can't have him now that he's winning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That episode was hilarious.
Yeah, no, we might need to do another one. No, and I've been to a couple protests where Al Sharpton shows up because, like, Cornel West can't come to everything, right? Like, he shows up about 5 minutes before an arrest. Cornel West, when he comes to a rally, he's there, a day, hours before, talks to the people, stands there, gets pepper sprayed and arrests, first one in the line. Al Sharpton shows up 20, 30 minutes after the shits went down. They calmly arrest him and put him in the fucking car. It's bogus. It's bogus.
Well, he's confidential human source number 7, right? That was his designation way back when he was turning in his brothers, 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah, that sounds he's
the source, man.
Government informant.
Yep.
Paid source. Yeah, that's a win. Thanks, Al.
Paid CHS. Gotta play the game, man.
Man. He is like I do think their time is over. They've got a whole new brand of sleazy preachers to run for president or whatever. Al Sharpton's running for president.
Is he?
Yeah. What? Yeah, he was the first. He runs for president every 4 years.
How about who's running for president is what the fuck? God damn it! Fucking
there's so many.
McAfee.
That's right. Yeah.
Is really?
Yes, he's literally running his campaign with a pile of cocaine and in a boat in the Bahamas, and he's running from the IRS and the Belize police for homicide. So
okay.
I think he's qualified because he's high all the time, but
Well, no, let's not get those are all just like Buttigieg, right? Those aren't policy, right? That's who you are personally. I want to know your policies. Let me see his policies. Let me see McAfee's policies.
He just wants to become president so he doesn't have to go to jail for not paying his taxes for 10 years.
Everybody wants to become president so they don't have to pay their taxes.
That's everybody, yeah. That's all these scumbags.
And on top of that, who the fuck is he kidding? He don't pay any taxes. He's a multi-millionaire.
Well, he's actually not worth as much money as you think he is. I think he's only worth somewhere in the 20 millions. So he had hundreds of millions, and he lost a lot of it after they kicked him off.
But you get, with our tax system, if you lose money in the stock market, if you lose money in businesses, the U.S. government just pays you.
They bought him out of McAfee, and I think he went on he was on quite a drug spree in Belize.
As you would. Yeah.
I'd like to think I wouldn't do that, but I bet you I would. beyond this, man.
It's not that you would do just. I mean, it's when in Rome. I
would
mean,
try
I don't
not
know
to.
what you. Yeah, I'm stuck on a boat with McAfee and
I wonder how his
huge amounts of
wife feels
cocaine.
because he sometimes you see him on camera with a shotgun in the middle of on a boat with he's high on cocaine. So I'm like, this is.
Well, that's a good combo.
Have you ever seen a person high on cocaine that wasn't next to a firearm? That's like when you are that paranoid. That's kind of the first thing you go to, isn't it?
I guess.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you know somebody's you're getting all paranoid. Somebody's gonna take your shit. That's the first thing that crosses your mind.
Especially
you can't
if you've
have
got
that.
a lot of it.
Yeah. So
you're gonna do one line and immediately start stressing about how much coke you've got. More of this. I need a lot more of this. Does anybody know how much of this there is?
This campaign is a joke. It's almost hilarious. It's almost as funny as watching Donald Trump tweet shit. It's like, dude, how does everybody not know that you're completely under the influence?
Yeah, I don't. There's some of them he writes in like you have to fuck. I am so sad if he's not on drugs.
Oh no, I mean John McAfee.
Like
he's totally high. Like Donald Trump, that's he's sober.
Well, he probably. Well,
that's the worst part.
He sniffles a lot.
Yeah,
especially early on.
I doubt that he's sober. You don't make those kind of statements / decisions sober. Please don't.
You think somebody's handing him like a fistful of Adderall? Probably.
Yeah, I mean, there's some rambling that goes on that's just too much to ignore sometimes, and like unconnected thoughts that you see.
Yeah, he's probably doing the prescription Adderall and shit. You know.
Yeah,
but he could have the Bolivian ambassador pay him a visit. It'd be that easy.
Oh, I think they've got like medical grade drugs that they give you at the White House. I don't think they have to worry about.
This shit'll calm you down.
I mean,
yeah, you get the good shit. Well, I mean, they play all of it. So this will calm you down. This will get you up. This will help you give that speech. There's always that's how they work.
Yeah, you will have like a private doctor giving him this kind of stuff. Yeah.
Didn't they have to fire the old doctor because he was like they caught him under the influence at work?
Oh,
I don't remember his last.
The first doctor.
That was early on. Yeah, I don't remember.
The only doctor I remember, like, yeah.
Then they said he was healthy as an ox, but he was like coming to work high.
Oh, the one that like, yeah, you eat a bucket of chicken a day, and you're telling me you're healthy as an ox? Yeah, right. A bucket of KFC. This isn't fucking organic chicken. You eat a bucket of KFC a day, and you're good. No, that's not reality. Yeah, KFC and McDonald's is what he lives on. Is what Trump lives on because he's desperately worried somebody's going to poison him. So rather than be a good person, you fuck over half of Poland to build your Trump towers. Yeah, that's a good way to get fucking poisoned.
KFC and McDonald's, though. I mean, you talk about. I mean, that's going to give you the runs in a short period of time.
That's why we get those crazy ass fucking tweets in the morning.
You think he's eating You think he's eating a fucking McChicken or some shit? Because I heard he eats that shit like 2 or 3 times a day.
Oh no!
Oh, wow. Hey, I have to admit, their hash browns aren't too bad, but the rest of their menu, I mean, it's
yeah, it's not. The coffee and hash browns, man. We used to get my first like real job was for the as a civilian. Was for the U.S. Army, developing the ANOC and BNOC medical training courses. I was 15 or 16 at the time, but the guy that I worked with, he like every morning brought us like coffee and hash browns from fucking McDonald's, and it was awesome. I still like think when I eat fucking hash browns, I kind of still fucking think back of that whole like time. It's pretty cool. It was like I learned a lot in a real short amount of time.
Have you guys heard, this is off topic, have you heard that Venezuela has been denying journalists entry into Venezuela? So bad to the point where they get on the airport to Venezuela, they get their visas approved ahead of time, and then they deport them as soon as they get off the airplane.
Yeah, especially. I mean,
This has
that's
been going
probably
on
for
for
the
this has
best.
been, I first heard about this last week, and this has been going on over and over because they want to report what's going on the ground without
Yeah,
the
you
police being around
without
them.
Western and
Yeah,
I mean, that whole story, I mean, it really died. I haven't heard anything on Venezuela in a
yeah,
while.
because they've been
oh,
kicking
they
out the
it got zero.
journalists.
Well, it got zero traction. The general that was their poster boy that did leave, leave Maduro's government and was kind of, that was the one that they put everywhere. He was arrested in, I think, Spain for cocaine and heroin import.
Oh, that's
So
right.
that
Yeah.
that stopped that whole movement really that they were trying to spin. And yeah, I think that probably kicking a lot of the journalists out, Western journalists, the propaganda. I mean, like what, you're gonna let CNN journalists into
Well,
your
no,
country?
there's
What, so they
he
can?
was also I follow this one chick and she was doing it freelance and came out of her own pocket but she did have a journalist pass and her and three other reporters were
Or
got
booted out.
deported. Yeah, they didn't even there wasn't any explanation. They just had a stack of papers where they were already ready to be deported.
And I know a couple of guys at the Mexican journalism agency. Dang it, what is it called?
Univision.
Univision. I know that they had got an interview specifically with Maduro, and they had asked it's a detention question, I think it was, and yeah, they were immediately rounded up and kicked out of the country. Took their phones, the works.
Yeah,
Because I saw the kind of he gave like when he was back on like Mexican soil. He gave
20 years
an
ago,
update of what happened.
Venezuela was a great country. It's like, how does shit go downhill that bad, that quick?
Oh, it has everything packed up against it. Internal problems, huge external problems. Everybody and their grandmother wants to take advantage of you if your country has any, resources whatsoever. On top of, idealistic, you're a socialist, I'm, a capitalist, so I have to, play whatever games we can to undermine so that we can give a press conference and say that socialism is failing. There's just all sorts of fucking problems that have built up to this.
Well,
to this point.
now we have to, literally go. No, I mean, to get any information that's coming out of there, I have to go, literally follow people in Venezuela, to really see what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, the current government is extremely authoritarian. Their police forces are extremely violent. Their government forces are extremely violent as well. There's, lots of drug problems on top of that, and then the U.S., intervention on all of those things.
That and their money's not worth shit, and their people are eating out of garbage
Yeah,
cans.
there's all sorts of issues that one of them would be, easily dealt with. They're going to have to switch out, leadership here. How that is done is going to have to be through the will of the people.
The people need to get the problem is the people aren't armed. I'm pretty sure this would have ended a long time ago if they were.
Yeah, I mean, if they could, we've had, South America is well armed in that we've, sent all of the guns.
They took the guns away from the people like 15 years ago. No, the 90s. That's right. Remember
the 90s?
Yeah, the 90s.
The 90s, and you guys know my problem with that is that for guerrilla war, you can do it. If your deal is to take a shot on a patrol, once a month, possibly you could bleed your enemy to death. If your idea is to load up a bunch of civilians with AKs and M16s and go up against well-trained, heavily armed, well-equipped military and police personnel, you're going to get murdered.
Yeah, but at least they got a shot if they have weapons.
We saw some of that in Haiti, right? And you look at the boogeymen. Man, they went house to house and slaughtered people. People are armed to the teeth. They put up the best fight they can, right? You don't have a armored personnel carrier with a machine gun on the top of it, right? And I'll give you an example in Afghanistan and Iraq. They were armed to the teeth with everything they possibly could. We tore through them like paper.
Yeah, that's
You know,
true.
they had the best weaponry that you could possibly buy. They stood zero chance. Everyone in Afghanistan is armed. Everyone. You know, and they're well armed to keep bandits, to keep random bad people, slavers, especially in Afghanistan. People are extremely well armed and ready to fight when they came up against an actual military, an actual trained force, like paper, like it didn't exist. Yeah, we would lose one person every couple of months, every 6 months. We'd take out entire villages from one side of the country to the other. We killed them until there wasn't anybody left to kill. We ran out of Felusians. You know, so we do, like I said, I would love the day where we could rise up in armed rebellion against military forces, but I really do feel like that version of resistance, the enemy has gotten so far ahead of us. Unless you've got a Predator drone, you're not going to fight a Predator drone.
That's true.
So what, small arms fire? You know, I can't shoot at your Predator drone with my AK. You're shooting me, you know, you've got hundreds of miles range. You might not even have to leave the continental United States to shoot a rocket to keep from violating international laws. You know, there's all sorts of, like I said, I just think that the enemies that we are fighting against, we're going to have to outsmart them. They know violence. They got that covered. But what they don't have covered is intelligence. They're a one-trick pony.
Well, what's really going to keep them down is they're going to run out of money. You remember that idea that Maduro had about making his own cryptocurrency? Yeah, he's encouraging people to use petro, but it's absolutely fucking worthless.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to take the world is in flux. It's going to take some real changes. Will Venezuela, recover? Oh yeah, of course. Will they recover better without the Western devil trying to destroy them from the outside? Oh yeah. You know, you could send almost anything, do almost anything. You know, as you said before, people are eating out of trash cans. What's your plan to get support with the Venezuelan people? Sanctions. Starve them more. That'll work. Right? That's our fix to anything. And that's not going to help Venezuela. So yeah, man, it's I don't pretend to have the answer, but there are things that we can do and fix. Secured voting machines, so that the people do feel voting systems, so that the people do.
But he
feel
never
that
gets
their votes
voted
are
in.
being
He just
counted.
declares himself the president for every so often.
Yeah. I mean, that is an internal problem they're going to have to rise up and deal with completely. But armed rebellion, chances are in today's world, the first time you come up against an armored personnel carrier is the last time you'll do that.
Yeah.
But you could bleed, that's the difference. You can bleed your enemy to death. And that's hard. That's easy to do with an external force. So an invading army, it's a lot harder to do with an army that lives there.
Well, they got pretty close with that drone attack.
Yeah, but
that was
the
a close
guys
one.
that when you're dealing with an internal, the army that you're fighting are from there, right? Are your own people. It's much harder to do those kind of actions. When it's an external force, an invading army, you have the general support of the people on the ground. It's the hearts and minds game. You either need the hearts or the minds. If you go into an engagement, right, and you don't have either, they don't agree with you ideologically or morally, one of the two, right, you will never win that engagement, because those are the two things that you need. So when you have terrorist actions against a occupying force, right, they agree with you with their hearts and their minds. They agree with you morally, fuck these guys, Yankee go home, or they agree with you ideologically, right? And you don't have that doesn't work. You will never get the hearts of the people from the inside of the country. You may hate the people that they're blowing up, but you'll never get that, you'll never get the support from inside. You see that with all sorts of terrorist actions inside of America. You'll have people that'll come out and tell you, yeah, fuck those Muslims, right? But on the same note, right, they don't want terrorists blowing up mosques, right? That's the step too far. You don't hold their hearts and minds, right? you can't, those terrorist actions aren't overlooked. Same thing happens in Iraq, and that's the exact opposite because you have them morally. They want the occupying force to go home. You can bleed your enemy to death with an occupying force. You can't bleed your enemy to death as easily from the inside because you don't get the same support. These are truths that people have to, when you're in the resistance, you're going to have to take into consideration. A live stream is worth 1,000 lives. Where you used to have to stand up with arms, you get those phones out there, you get those lives, you get the truth out to the people. That will have a greater effect than any bloodbath that would be in the news for 5 minutes. If it's covered at all. People are murdered in mass, in wholesale slaughter across the planet. It doesn't even get the news. Some of them are standing up against the government. Some are the government mowing them down. Not even.
Yeah, well, I think when Iceland had a revolution, I only think the tail end of it was covered.
Yeah, so I mean, our greatest strength is our connection through social media, is live streaming, is the truth, not necessarily violence. Oh yeah, you know what an execution looks like, right? So you don't, having somebody paint that picture for you, that doesn't, you know what I mean? That doesn't have the same effect. When the news doesn't want you to view it as an execution, you don't see it. They don't talk about it as an execution.
True.
But yeah, I'm not saying that violent revolution might not be a necessity. But it's going to be a bloodbath, guys. That's not the direction you want to go. And just, I've seen it, what it looks like to have untrained civilians go up against trained military, not even well-trained military.
Most of the Iraqi regulars that we've seen didn't even want to fight us. They just surrendered right away because they knew we were going to give them food and shelter.
Yeah, it wasn't, I can't, it's just not, the things that you're going to have to outsmart your enemy. Right? And that's always been our greatest skill, tactically, is to outsmart our enemy.
Oh.
And these are dumb fucks. Come on, guys. We can outsmart them.
Oh, Maduro, yeah.
And it takes like the population eventually saying, no, I need you to go and beat and oppress those people, and the police departments and military says, nah, I'm good, thanks.
Those are my family members. No, I'm good.
I know it wasn't covered at all, but a bunch of and I think even a couple of current French Foreign Legion marched with the Yellow Vest, 2 weeks ago?
Oh, that's true, yeah.
It was a huge deal and got like no coverage.
What happened?
So, the French Foreign Legion, which, I mean, arguably, it is a military force, but that's a lot like, they're special forces, right? They get to go and do all the dirty work that the French government needs done. They're not mercenaries, but they are kind of in that gray area because they're not officially military. But they are, right? The French Foreign Legion is better known than the actual French military. And they stood, they marched with the Yellow Vest protesters in Paris not 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
they were wearing their uniforms, they were wearing their berets, they were wearing their medals, the works, which was beautiful to see because the police are not gonna attack the French Foreign Legion for all sorts of reasons. Number one, you're probably about to get your ass whooped.
They looked like, I don't know about all of them, but the ones I saw looked like older guys that were probably retired.
The French Foreign Legion is kind of special because even if you're like a huge criminal in some country, you can just go there and you join there, and they will give you a new identity as a French.
Yeah, you get your record swiped and a brand new identity. They'll even give you a new name.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have a age limit or anything.
Wow.
There's all sorts. It's like something, it's one of those weird things where, as somebody that if you were French or whatever, there's a lot of pride to be taken in being a warrior. It's such a nightmare what they use warriors to be, but to do. But yeah, they everybody that leaves boot camp speaks French by the time you leave, which is kind of cool. You get a free extra language. So like you're bilingual by the time you leave. It's a real interesting Mila. The English use the Gurkhas in a very similar way. The Gurkhas are, I think it's
Yeah.
oh goodness, they're goodness.
Tibet.
What's Tibet, and
Yeah.
they're the most badass warriors that you could possibly imagine. And I met one of these guys once. They don't carry like a normal like K-bar or like a boot knife or anything. No. They're mercenary special forces that the English use to do their really hard stuff. So like when they tell you a mission is impossible, they send the Gurkhas to do it, and they carry this like crazy. Yeah, like, but they're not English. They're not English citizens, are they?
Many are not. No, it is like kind of
No.
like the French Foreign Legion. They can just sign up there. Like,
Yeah, but they send them there to, and they're like I said, they're like modern day ninjas. They come like all of them come. It's like the from like a world that doesn't really exist anymore.
yeah,
But a cool bit of
it comes from like, because now it's like all voluntary, right? The military in like Western Europe, like France and UK. So they need soldiers, and they set up these things so anyone can join. These are like special forces, like you're saying. They're very well trained, of course, yeah. But some of them are like really hardened criminals before they did that.
but for
So
the Legion, that's what they were looking for.
yeah.
That was literally what they were looking for. So I mean, if you say, oh well, and we try to make war a lot nicer than it really is, right? So I mean, they kind of looked at it. Hey, we need people murdered. We're probably going to look for, I don't know, murderers.
Yeah, these are not
so the
like
guy-
the basic, just out of school kids. These guys, they have no problem murdering you.
Yeah, can you murder people without conscience? Yeah, all right, you're
Yeah.
in, man. So yeah, there's that, but there's like a cultural support behind the same way that you would for Navy SEALs or Green Berets or any of that. There's a cultural support behind the French Foreign Legion that the people of France have. So I mean, using really hard tactics or trying to ignore it just makes a huge statement. Like having 1,000 Iraqi war veterans march together or something like that. It had that kind of effect and means the same thing. Having the police are probably not going to attack a bunch of veterans without some real craziness going down. Not just at that very moment, but the repercussions for it are pretty, you're going to lose whatever you were trying to hold, because the American people aren't going to stand for that any more than the French people would have for the Foreign Legion. But then at the same note, everything that you can't shut them up either. Everything they say has a lot of gravity. So yeah, them coming out and supporting us was a big deal.
How are
Yeah,
the-
that's why you didn't hear anything about it. Nothing. Not a peep.
I did see one picture. Yeah, I mean, it's extremely hard. I have to go to like Ruptly out of Deutschland, to get a feed or anything. It's ridiculous.
Well, and that's something I don't know. Like, are they, because we do have to go to like other alternative networks to sometimes check sources and get information that it won't be on any of the US sites. It won't be, do they have like a list? Are they told, hey, don't post this on American sites?
Oh, there's nothing. Man, I'm talking to people here. Not that our news is that great, but they don't even know that stuff's going on. You've had riots going on there for 6 months, and there's people I talk to that have no idea that any of that's going on. It's incredible.
Or that they think that it's like over, that it was, that it ended weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, so the blackout of the media, I mean, it's actually kind of working. I mean, people are just totally oblivious for the most part. At least Americans. And that's not too unusual. But.
Well, we got a lot going on. I mean, I'm trying to, because I see definitely a pattern with it. I'm going through everybody's sites here, and we do end up going, just when you said that, I had to go to rep the Europe, and I think of the amount of times that I'm going to the European sites, and I'm going to the New Zealand sites, and I'm going to the Asian sites. Why Why is that? Why is are all of these even the alternative? Are they getting a list of some sort that says, "Hey, don't talk about this, and this on U.S. Posts"?
Well, it has to be, because it used to be like, okay, if you couldn't get American media saying something, you go to Canada. You could go to some country and get their media to be talking about it. But now it's just like you can hardly find anything. It's not just like one country's media shut it down. It's like almost a global effort. They have to be in collusion. There's no other way.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there has to be, when you look through it. I mean, that even the sites that are speaking the truth know, hey, just don't even waste your time. Don't go in that direction. Or if they're given, hey, we'll kick you off if you don't, play ball. I'm not sure how any of that's working. I mean, I don't know if they I don't think they would be affected so much for that. But you just can't get it on the U.S. sites. They're controlled by our internet.
Yeah, I think it's probably actually the other way around. Instead of like a blacklist, they probably get fed like a list of things they have to talk about or something. Like today,
Yeah.
this will be the headline, and then a few other things, and that the yellow vest thing will never be among those things. Kind of like that or something. I'm not sure. Maybe there is an actual blacklist. Could be.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody that's in the corporate media should email that to us.
I think it's kind of like lobbyists do, like too. That people are like lobbying for certain things. That they are also lobbying for like certain news messages or something. Like certain groups feeding them this stuff. But yeah, it would always be appreciated if someone provides us with intel about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Just so I don't even know if it's something that's all that big of a deal if there is a list. Because I mean, I know we've posted that videos over and over when a news story comes through, and I mean, they are reading from a script.
Yeah. So it's around that.
So
that,
I mean,
that
you'll.
Go
Yeah, I
ahead.
would just if somebody knows the info, I'll do some searching here. But if somebody just send me the list, what the list is of what you're the no talk about list, so I can talk about all of it.
I do know there was like recently there was like a scandal in my country that there's like the biggest news site in my country, just like a public news site. People were no longer if you were like a climate change denier, it was no longer allowed on this website. They completely ban everything. Like
Yeah, like
I'm not into like.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not
I
into
don't
like the whole
understand.
climate denial stuff, but still you have to allow all other voices. But they said like now it's 97% certain that there is a human caused climate change, so we are no longer allowing other voices. It's the website nu.nl.
Yeah, see, I don't understand what the people come out and say all sorts of crazy shit all the time. Why pick climate change to focus on? The Earth is not flat. It doesn't matter to me whether you say it is or isn't. Whether you and your friends say that it is or isn't. That doesn't change. Yeah, it doesn't change any of the truth that's involved in that. So, I mean, do your own thing, man. You can post it on your wall, have fun. No, I'm not going to post it on the White House, you know what I mean, on the White House climate change forum. I'm not, you know what I mean? Don't expect it to go beyond that, but you're welcome to post whatever you feel. Go ahead. That's not my that makes no to me like that makes no sense.
No, I think you should embrace it. Actually, that these dissident voices. So if you have the truth, then you can even. It's like a perfect opportunity to repeat your truth like a few times again, right? I mean,
so it's not really a public. It's not really a public forum then, even though they're saying you said it was like public place where you can post.
Yeah, that's what they claim too. They say they're unbiased and all these things, but clearly they're not.
Yeah, because that's not. I don't understand why somebody else's opinion on something that like climate change is really all that important. The people that were a problem in climate change denial were not people making Facebook posts. They're people that were a problem in climate change denial was our government, was Lindsey Graham.
Yeah.
was Mitch McConnell, was people that stood up there and lied to us, paid scientists and doctors and experts, Rex Tillersons of the world, that were responsible for that. That's totally different than somebody, talking at a barbecue telling you what their opinion is. They're welcome to do that, which is what I see a
Yeah.
public forum as.
Like the climate change, there are still deniers of actual climate change too. Yeah, true. But where the most debate about is also in my country still, that is human made, like that humans have influence on that, and it's not just nature, right? That's what they're kind of debating about, and yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
a fair
I normally
debate, but
I normally go with the thing like, okay, that's fine. So we moved away from fossil fuels and that nightmare. Okay, I mean, like, whether that doesn't really bother me. Like, if you're like, well, we quit using fossil fuels and I guess climate change wasn't man-made. Well, that's fine. I now live on a beautiful planet. I'm cool with that.
yeah,
Like
yeah, no,
the
that's
plastic ocean thing, like the electric car thing, the solar panel thing. I'm happy with that, regardless on climate change. Living in a clean planet's good for everybody.
I was also thinking that maybe if you're so worried about like the CO2 levels growing, then maybe you shouldn't cut away all the rainforests and all these things.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. There's plenty of ways that I could that that the move to green energy, the move to renewable products, and all of that stuff is better for our planet. Climate change is part of it, but just the fact that it's fucking up our planet is bad enough. You look at something like Monsanto and red tide, right? Red tide isn't climate change, right? Red tide isn't making the water warmer, colder, isn't making it colder outside or not. It's still a fucking nightmare. It's destroying our environment, right? And that's a problem in and of itself.
yeah, there's all these dead birds with like plastics in their stomach. I mean, that's not normal. That's like, why are you
Oh
doing
yeah, the
those
dead
things?
birds, the radiation, the overfishing, the whaling. Like, fuck, you guys are orcs. You're not people.
No, it's like shocking. I mean, there's literally so many birds and fishes just filled with plastics, and
There was a study done, and I mean, I can, like, last time we were out in the Pacific, there was not a place. There wasn't a depth that I dove to. There wasn't an island in the middle Pacific that I visited that did not have plastic trash, and not one. You would go to an island that a person has never stepped on. A couple miles wide. Even less in some cases. Nobody has ever stepped foot on that island, and in some places it would be ankle to knee deep in plastic. More plastic
yeah,
than plants or animals. Yeah, it was like
yeah, like
it was like weird to see, because if you're not living next to an ocean, you don't notice it. And some people, if you live in New York, you're not going to notice it, and you live right next to the ocean. The water is dirty, but you don't know that it goes, when you look across the ocean, the plastic and dirt and all that crap that you expect is just in New York Harbor, that stretches to the other side of the globe. It doesn't stop. You know what I mean? It's just one long set of fucking trash.
yeah. And you saw it with these. I saw these videos on like YouTube of like these islands, right? Whenever a human had never been on an island, and that these shores were like filled with all like plastic garbage and stuff. Like, there's never been a human, but it all just comes from the ocean, all kind of plastics and crap.
Yeah.
That's naturally occurring plastic there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's clean plastic. It's clean plastic. You just put the word "clean" on in front of it, and it's good to go.
yeah, or green. If it's green plastic, then it's okay.
Yeah, there's already been a couple of companies, the way that they used to do with organic, where you have to really, guys, where you have to be super specific. What do you mean? Or farm fresh was another one. What do you mean,
Yeah.
farm fresh? Did this come from a farm? Oh, no. It comes from an industrial farming facility. Well, that's not farm fresh. Well, technically it's a farm.
It's fresher than other things we could do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has the maximum for human consumption of both feces and pus. Yeah, there's a bunch of doctors somewhere on the East Coast that want summer Purdue stuff because it's got such a high fecal content to be marked as one of its ingredients. Because it's like higher than some of it's higher than some of the actual vitamins and minerals and good shit in there. It's like, it's got 2% of the vitamin D and 3% of the feces that you're gonna need for the day.
This fucked up.
Yummy.
So is it like nanoparticles in the food? I can't even wash it off now. It's in there. I just can't do anything about it.
That's the deal. So what they do is they take the milk and then through the oh goodness, what is it called? Crap, can't think. What? No, for milk, the pasteurization process. Yeah, when they do all of that, the homogenization as well, they heat it up and then they pretty much run it through like a super high powered, like high torque blender, and it makes all the particles of fecal matter and pus and all of that stuff, liquefied. So it's just like the consistency of the milk, and then they bleach the whole thing. So you don't see the blood and pus and fecal matter and all of that. Otherwise, your milk would look like the blood and shit that it actually is. But since they bleach it and add, additives and, the flavor of what you expect milk to taste like, you don't even notice. Yeah, it's the green slime. It's the pink slime game. So, like, there's no burger here, but it sure, it looks like it by the time we're all done.
Yeah, it sure don't taste like it, man. It's like them fucking McDonald's burgers, man. Jeez.
Well, you got to go a generation, and then you won't even notice that that's not what, fish or chicken or beef tastes like.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, so once you're, raised on that, kids that have never eaten a real piece of fruit or a real piece of chicken, right? They think that's what, chicken tastes like. When you eat a chicken McNugget, that's what you expect that's what you think chicken tastes like. Even though that's not what chicken, tastes like in anything. But after a generation or so, you start thinking that's what it's supposed to taste like. And yeah, we'll get to that. We're getting to that point now where the flavor of apple or cherry or whatever it is, cranberry tastes nothing like what an actual cranberry tastes like. Bananas and tomatoes are a good example. When you look at the difference between European tomatoes and American tomatoes. When we grow tomatoes here, they look like a picture-perfect tomato, but they taste horrible. They don't even taste like tomatoes. And then you'll go over to Europe, you'll go over to a place that's still growing real tomatoes, and they look all, knobby and, growing off in weird directions and all. They're definitely not round, perfectly red, tomatoes. But then they actually taste like tomatoes. I don't know how tells to, how to exactly to say that, but we the food that we're eating already has been so processed it doesn't even taste like what it actually is.
No, between being genetically modified or just modified in general, the tomatoes, they're tough. They really watery. They don't have any taste for the most part.
Well, and people don't know there's pretty much one kind of banana that we use. It's one, and this is worldwide. It's the same banana. So the way that bananas grow, you cut a piece of the vine, the plant off, and then it's like a perennial. You can grow as many bananas as you want. So with these, there was one certain banana there was another plague that went through and killed them all off back in the early 1900s. And we switched from that kind to this kind, which are those long, perfectly yellow bananas. They taste kind of chalky, but since you've never eaten a real banana in your life, you don't know. And they ship really easily. They last a long time. But right now, there's been another one of those diseases that's broken out. And since they're all the exact same plant, they're all a clone, right? They're all hugely susceptible to it. We've lost a huge amount of our banana supply, and it may be wiped out completely, and we have to use another kind of banana. But because of that, when you go to another place that's still growing real bananas and you taste one, it's fucking mind-blowing. Like because and that was like you've been raised on fruits and vegetables that are clones. They were picked because of the way that they look or the way that they travel, and not that they taste like that fruit or vegetable. And when you taste a real one, you're like, oh my God, I've never actually tasted a zucchini before. This is awesome. Yeah, so it's cool. The world that we live in. But yeah, fish, a lot of people think that they're eating a certain kind of fish, and like, fuck, man, we're almost all the way out of tuna. You're not, nobody is eating tuna anymore. There aren't any. It takes, 100 years for them to get full grown. We ate all the baby ones ages ago. We're down to the last couple. Most of what you're eating is fish that's been textured to kind of feel like tuna. And that's it. It's not actually the meat, the tuna that it's supposed to be in there. We've damn near killed all of them off. But your average American, your average person in the world doesn't even realize it. You're pretty sure that's tuna.
It takes that long to grow, huh?
Yeah, they live a really long time, and they it takes forever for them to get like giant. What we used to think of when you hit like a school a tuna, it was kind of like awe-inspiring because they're giant, super strong swimmers. I mean, they're like and they're predators, so like they move real fast. They're really cool. But yeah, we took them up by, as fast as you could. And even worse, they don't hit their reproductive cycle until like way into that lifetime, like you would, any other creature. You're 18 years old before you're kicking out kids. So on that same thing, I think they lived 120 years where we only live like 80. So they were, 30 years before they're even respawning, which, we pull them out all even the little baby ones out by that time. Dun, dun, dun.
The Earth is dying.
Yeah. No, we got it. We got this.
It's not there yet, but...
We got to tell like 5,000 people to fuck off, and it really will all be fixed. It's Agenda 21? Is it Agenda 21 where they want to kill off a third of the people? Something like that? What was that?
Something
what
like
was
that.
the name of it?
Yeah,
31,
I don't
21?
know if it's... well, it's 2030 now. I mean, they'll... It's where they really tell that is in that Georgia Guidestones. I don't know if really the Agenda 21 is like the setup for it, but...
Yeah, so...
They don't really say it like that way.
For people that don't know, there's this weird monument that the corporate elite made, the globalist made, that is like a monument to death, has laid out, the people that they want to kill and why they want to kill them, and how to make the world better if they kill off a third of the population. Kind of like Thanos wanted to do, but without any superpowers. Just straight up murdering people. So,
well, they don't really.
Yeah, that's
I don't know that they really say how they're going to do it, but they want to get down to 500 million. So it's going to be a lot of dead bodies.
Yeah, they want to. Whether that's, and I know the Bushes had pushed like the water sterilization game and some other people throughout time how they're plan to do it. That may be shit in our water, shit in our air. I mean, the government's always spraying you with something. So. Yeah, but I mean, at those, that's really there's 5,000 people that are in charge of that game. So pretty much get the leadership of the world together, ask them about Agenda 21. If they think it's a good idea, we launch them into the sun, and most of the planet will be fixed at that point.
Well, yeah, at least then you've hit some kind of reset. At least you have a chance.
Yeah, so I mean, with you get rid of it's the people that benefit from war and pollution. The companies, the industries that are polluting our world, that are slowly killing us, right? If you get rid of those people, however that may be, that makes a huge difference. And I'm not talking about being violent. I mean, dig a hole and put them in there, lock them up, put them in prison, launch them into the sun. However you got to do it. But taking away those 5,000 people's power is imperative. Their lives are not important to me. So I mean, don't go down the violent route. That's not what important. We have to take their power away from them. It doesn't matter doesn't matter what you want. right? And we have to really sink that home. I don't care if you want to make money in this part of the world. That is not my problem. Do it legitimately. Oh, well, but what about my interest? I don't care what your interests are. They ain't my interests. Halliburton cutting me a check.
Well, it's fine to have your company and your interest all. You're just not going to be able to use the government to do all these phony wars and abuse everybody because you need to make money.
Yeah, like that's not a
That's-
legitimate excuse.
That's it's not. It's like, I got my interests. Well, hey, so do I. So get lost.
Yeah, clean water is definitely an interest of mine. I like clean water. And not being irradiated. That are top 2 things on my fucking list. And y'all are doing both of those. So we kind of hit an impasse. And the difference is there's 7 billion of us. There's 5,000 of you. I mean, if we were any other creature but humanity, we could have beat them by now. If we were ants, this would be done, right? 7 billion ants versus 5,000 people, and the 7 billion ants would still win.
Maybe, well, hey, we don't know what it's like to be an ant. We haven't walked in their shoes, but I just got to believe they look like they're all kind of on board with whatever their plan is.
Yeah, they got their shit together.
Yeah,
in comparison.
Maybe there's an ant tyranny going on. We just don't understand, but it's like they look like they're working pretty good together.
Yeah, and I know as time's gone on, there's been some cool research done inside of ants. They've got in infirmaries where injured and hurt and sick ants are able to go and other ants take care of them and clean them and all of that. Are you telling me that ants got socialized fucking healthcare before I did?
Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to go look that one.
It's really, really sad.
They just, I guess, yeah. I mean, there had to be a split there somewhere because otherwise you would have more than one queen. There'd be more of them, but they'd be sitting around doing nothing while the rest of them work.
Well, no, I think she's popping out babies 24/7. I don't know if that's a good deal.
Well, yeah,
I've seen what that entails. That does not look fun. But I think without the lack of ego, we say the queen in
our terms.
in ants in king. Yeah, we put the people terms on it. There's no benefit. She's not collecting gold, money, servants. She's not doing any of that stuff, which are what our queens and kings mean. And if she dies off, another ant eats a whole bunch of royal jelly and starts kicking out babies. They don't even slow down, right? So without the ego, without what it's not a pyramid scheme, which is what we're talking about, right? So it is the animal kingdom, right? It's not a political, but it is interesting to see that if you took any of that out of it, even a little bit, how successful we could be. I don't want people to be ants. I'm just saying that that if you took any of the ego and the constant move to profit let's the kings and queens. At what point is it enough? Not enough yet? You good? The only reason you're a king or a queen is because you've been doing this for generations. Okay, how much is enough? You got palaces. You've got as much money as we can fathom. Right, you've done the wars. You're wearing gold and jewels. People bow to you when you come in. People call you queen this or king that. What else? You're on the money, right?
But you're not bowing to them, Terrence. You won't get on a knee. You won't take a knee.
I'm an American, though. I'm not gonna bow to you anyway. We actually had that sorted already. That's why even when we start, people, nobody wants the Troubles to start back up in Ireland. But in the same note, you're all like, yeah, well, fuck England. Best time to get out of Northern Ireland then.
Yeah,
unfortunate.
Rehashing the same old problems over and over because these people don't get it. They're like ticks. They're really hard to get rid of. They just burrow their way in, and jeez.
And they're blood-sucking bastards. So yeah, that does make sense. Yeah, but I think that, in some of it, the colonial powers are coming to an end. And the neo-colonial powers are now coming to an end. and that's really bothers them. Bothers us. You know, the fact that we may not be number one under military power alone is causing us some real problems.
Yeah.
But are you sure you don't want liberated? Nah, we're good, thanks. If we can ever get rid of the IMF, I mean, that is fucking top priority. And the fact that countries are still taking loans from those guys. If your country is currently on fire, look around. If it's on fire, take no money from the IMF. They are not there to help you.
Yeah, these countries, I mean, they got to quit bankrupting themselves trying to keep something going. It's like, you know who these people are. You know how it ends, so don't go there. Don't be signing away your oil or your property, your islands, or whatever you got. Just tell them no, man, and bite the bullet. But just, geez,
straight up hustle them. Yeah, I would just tell them no. So, like, use the money, build what you need to build. Venezuela, take it all. Take all the money they want to give. And they're all like, all right, let's start that oil pipeline. Start pumping it off to the States. You can pull no. You you didn't think we were gonna you want money back? No, we're not doing that either. But thanks for helping us out, man. We were in a serious bad spot. It was good to see the goodwill of the international banking industry to finally stand up for the people. I was surprised to see that. But nah, I wouldn't pay them back no fucking way. Make sure that check clears and keep walking. Maybe build like an IMF statue, to show your appreciation. Yeah, a plaque. Nice plaque would be nice. Well, for your for your contribution to humanity. I don't think they would like that at all. You will be getting a regime change in a heartbeat.
Yeah, no, plaques and all that. I mean, those are nice. No, I mean, they will to accept the title, but they really live to steal money. Just a title without any money involved that wouldn't satisfy a criminal.
Yeah. And it wouldn't be in the exact, it wouldn't be in it never goes in the exact opposite. What is, a lord, a king or whatever? Oh, that means that for your family's line, you're a servant to the greater good, to the people, as a king through your bloodline. Isn't that what being a king means? Something greater than yourself, right? But that's never the way. That means everybody needs to give you stuff.
Yeah, they're actually, if you look at like the oaths of some of these kings and all, I mean, they have responsibilities. They can't just treat their people like shit. In their oaths is, you're going to be the steward of the people. And, I mean, there's 3 or 4 things that they have to do. And most of these sumbitches don't do it. I mean, it's just, they don't care.
You don't get that much of other people's stuff doing good. Like none of the stuff in any of their palaces and any of those places is theirs. In fact, they're real proud of it, of when they stole it.
Yeah.
Oh, this was right after Germany. Oh, the Ottoman Empire. We wrecked that place. This is all we got from Egypt. So there you go. They've even got a couple of mummies. Can you imagine? And I mean, like the big ones. Can you imagine if which English king that you could have in Egypt and that would be allowable? And not like you took it ages ago. You borrowed it in you took King George's fucking body just to borrow it for a museum for a little bit, and then we'll give it back. And then when they ask to give it back, you're like, nah, we're just gonna keep it in the Egyptian museum. But thanks. He was super cool. Look at him there. I just can imagine that doesn't fit. That doesn't work with any other culture, but but the colonists, right? The colonizers, they're all about it.
We keep their stuff for a while.
Yeah, America was the only ones that got it. They got it right. Like, nah, we're just gonna keep it. Thanks. But you're part of the English Empire. Nah, was part of the English Empire. Yeah, we're just gonna keep all of this shit. Y'all are gonna have to fuck off. Head up to Canada. I heard it's nice up there. But nah, the last bastions of some of these empires are slowly crumbling. I know Scotland is also going to take a second look at independence, being that they are part of Europe. So like they can't really be involved in Brexit in that way, just in trade. Like it's cool that the English did that, but and the weird part is Scotland just had a resolution that failed a couple of years ago. I don't remember. New Zealand had one too, and I don't remember whether Australia did. But to no longer be part of the Commonwealth, and they voted for it. But I don't know. Even then, it was like the same reason. A lot of retired guys vote in comparison to 18-year-olds, even though the population is more, young people than it is old people. But the older generation vote religiously and the younger generation didn't. And that may have changed a little bit in just the next generation, becoming old enough to vote. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they lose both Scotland and Ireland over this.
Well, Ireland seems like they still want to be in the EU.
Oh no, they don't want to be part of the UK. They don't. They're not.
That's the jam.
They never have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they've got a border that they don't want to turn into a hard border, but there's no way to avoid that if they leave Europe, and Ireland doesn't. Ireland's not going to, but that border, which is why there's been kind of a flare up and some protests and all of that, and in Northern Ireland for that very reason. They're going to have to go home. Like, it's an occupying force. They're an occupying army. It's not even like Scotland. Like, Ireland doesn't share. It's a completely different island, hundreds of miles away.
Yeah.
It's not like, England and Scotland share an island. That's not the case with Ireland. They are clearly a separate entity. But yeah, we'll see how it plays out. I really do hope that they do get completely independent from England here, and they have, all except for one little tiny part of Northern Ireland. But it's been a battle back and forth. A lot of people have been hurt. A lot of people have been killed, as happens in an occupational army. Nobody likes to be occupied.
No.
Yeah, I hope they get their independence from the UK, but I'm not sure if it's smart for them to join the European Union again. But yeah, it's up to them, of course.
I don't see that being much of a change, really. It's like you're giving up one monarchy for another.
Yeah, self-determination inside of the country, I don't know. They're not as big as us. So, I do see a lot of similarities between the states and the European Union. The European Union is much more like the 50 states than it is like America's gigantic in how many, and the only reason that it works is that each state has its own, laws and anonymity and all sorts of rules, and Europe's a lot like that. With the European Union, where each country is more like is got its own rights. It's like a state, but you're all still kind of working for the European, for Europe. And even then, I think it's smaller than it's the East Coast over to the Midwest. It's still not as big as the continental United States. Each one of those countries separately, most of the time, only has one or two exports. When you get to Italy, or Spain, you only got one export. You have to be part of the European Union.
Yeah, this is why I'm more like a trade unionist guy. I feel like there should be open borders and open trade, but I'm just not a fan of a central government, right? Trade agreements is all fine.
Why do you need another layer of 30 or 40,000 bureaucrats to run this? You already had all the nations. They already had all these agreements. Why do you need yet another layer of government to run that? That's the ruse of it all, is you're going to get something out of being in this block, but what you're really going to be losing is control. It's the same old trick.
You're now property of Deutsche Bank.
Yeah, pretty much, because that's where the center of power is. I mean, that's the only real country that, as you said, that has like more than 2 exports, right? It's
Yeah.
like there's a full-blown industry. It has the biggest banking sector. It has pretty much everything. I mean, it has like the biggest army, for example, too.
Yeah,
I mean,
I remember. I remember real recently, Trump said he was going to sanction Germany, and I can't imagine the Germans laughing. Like, how hard? What are people going to quit buying Mercedes and sausages? I think we'll be fine.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Germany
Like,
also has a huge
oh
domestic
no.
market. So.
They're hard to hurt.
It's
Yeah, they
just
don't. They're not like us. You know, all this trade deficits and all that. I mean, they're really on top of their economy compared to
yeah.
us. You know?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Like it was such an idle threat when you look at what their exports and imports are.
Well, it was
And I
like
know
Trump
there has been.
threatening China. You know, it's the same thing. It's like, are you serious? Come on, man. I mean, who's the producer here? You know, who's got all the minerals and the contacts and the contracts and the plants and you know?
Well, look at.
So
I think some of it is. Yeah,
you can't. It's like, okay, so we put tariffs on you for 5% of the goods, and you bend us over for the other 95. It's you talk about a weak argument.
Well, yeah, and like the U.S., they really don't. Whether it's great that you're working with us, it's great that you're not working with us. We can build. When you're working with us, we make lots of money in trade back and forth. When you're not good with us, we make lots of money calling you. The other side calling the other side evil. We get a whole bunch of patriotism stirred up, and we make a bunch of money. Right? So it's not like that part is actually real. And we get down to like the other thing. You planning on going to war with China? Well, no. Okay, well then what is the point of all of this? They were using the excuse we needed Space Force in case we went to war with China and Russia. Are you going to war with China and Russia? Well, no. Okay, well then stop. You worried about the Russians invading Miami? Right? New Mexico? Russians can take over New Mexico? You're going to learn how to speak Russian? Most people in America barely speak English. It's just not reality, but they make it into this fear mongering that somehow you need to spend trillions of dollars to put weapons in space and give her all your rates because the Chinese, they're not like
people
you.
People also don't understand really, like a country like Russia. They think like Russia is going to invade other countries and all these things, but they don't realize that like 90% of Russia is actually like empty space. They don't need to invade anything. Like the Siberian area is all empty. Like there are a few city hearts like with Moscow and like Western Russia, but they got all the resources they need. It's all in the ground there for them.
And we make it anytime that people talk about an enemy without a leer, that it's fake. So when you say this person is fucking up this game for us, right? You have a clear and obvious enemy. When they use the Chinese, right? It's an open-ended question, right? That's not a real person. That's a caricature, right? That's a enemy that I've constructed for you. Right, that's the same way when we say, the Russians. What do you mean the Russians? Right, the artist Russians, the peace protester Russians, the Eastern Russians, the Russians in Moscow. Which Russians are you talking about? These are all very different Russians. The far Eastern Russians that are damn near Asian. Are those Russians? How about the Russians on the border with China? Right, these are not a homogenous people. Right, any more than it's like saying, well, this is what Europeans think. All Europeans think that?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Right, but
exactly.
We talk about people that we want as enemies as these single-minded entities that you can build as a threat, right? I can make a poster that says, fight the Russians, and we can put a poster of a caricature of a Russian that you'll accept there. Not ever thinking that, the 4 people next to him and the 4 people, the other side have completely different opinions.
Yeah, and that is like, and there's also like, it has to do with kind of like reflection, like acting like they all have the same mindset as American military has internationally. I mean, the only time I think that the Russians actually actively invaded areas was like during World War II, and they did it to beat Hitler. So
well, yeah, and the recent move in Crimea is definitely it's a hard move to deal with, being that is part of Russia, right? I mean,
Yeah,
there
historically, it
was
was part of Russia.
Yeah, I mean, this used to be the capital of Russia.
Yeah.
There's history there that was ignored in even the debate, and I don't want to get into. I get it. Self-determination is self-determination, but it's like us losing a state for a couple of years, and then them getting it together. The exit of the European Union, or anything like that. That's an upheaval for a very short amount of time.
We got 4 minutes, guys.
We're talking. Yeah, we're talking what? Less than 40 years? Less than 30 years? When did Moscow change officially to the? Less than 100 years. Officially changed to the capital of Moscow of Russia.
Yeah, exactly.
It was St. Petersburg before, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I mean, we're not dealing
with the Russian Revolution.
Yeah, we're not dealing with a super long period of time. It was arguable, but that would be another time where I'd see the military incursion. But as far as they're not going to war with America, we're not fighting for any resources. There is the war. The countries that say those things benefit much more by saying it than going to war. I forget, it was he gave a really great speech, Eisenhower, right? And he, it doesn't matter. They could build plowshares, they could build anything. Doesn't matter. The point is to build the planes, the tanks, the planes, the bombs, the guns, all of that. Once you do with them after that is pointless. You've already been paid. You could literally have made all the same amount of money in the economic boom of World War II if you built the tanks and drove them directly into the sea. You're not taking them back. You're not using them. You don't get any benefit from the resources that you used in there. You only got the economic stimulation. They could have built anything. They could have been tanks, trucks. They could have built plows. They could have built anything that you wanted them to and had the exact same effect. Yeah, so I think that really a lot of this, they need the constant buildup. They need the fear. They need you to ignore the things that they're doing. But as far as you're not going to war with the Russians. Jesus, you can't go to war with unarmed refugees from South America. What are you going to do with a real enemy?
Yeah, because the Russian military is more than capable to fighting wars. I mean, you don't want to go to war with the Russians. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, look, the most, it just gets into this. It gets into this. It's a pointless game. I don't want any Russian anything. Land, let them be Russian. Do your thing, man.
What about the empire, though? We have to give up on the empire.
Look, I always kind of view us as like those Robin Hood figures. This is Sherwood Forest. It's a bad time to be a nobleman, man. I ain't hating on you. You're just wrong place, wrong time.
I was laughing about the fact that Americans were angry at Russia because Russia now uses spoofing. The Americans can't find locations of any bases or any armed forces in Russia because the Russians are scrambling the GPRS stuff, right? They are spoofing locations, so that nothing matches anymore. They're very, very pissed off about that. But
hey guys, we're having trouble finding your secret bases.
Yeah.
1 minute, guys.
Or just while we were spying on your country, we can't find your secret bases? My answer would be because we don't have any secret bases. What bases? What? Yeah, I can't. That seems like bummer. Did you try using your spy satellites? Nothing? Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, pictures don't really require GPS. All right.
Yeah, there would be, the fact that you can't find the GPS of my secret base doesn't particularly bother me. I mean, other countries aren't doing the same things that we're doing. So yeah, they do have, a missile, programs, and they do have biological weapons and all of that, but nowhere near the scale. Fuck, China's got one aircraft carrier that they bought used from the French. One.
Yeah.
That is not a threat in any way.
All right, 30 seconds, guys.
30 seconds.
Dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for listening.
All right. Roll out.
Spay and neuter your politicians.
I wait for that every episode.
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly.